Okay, I think I'm live. How's everybody doing today? Got a good stream planned for y'all. I got my marshmallows. Check them out. And you know what? They were so inexpensive that I bought. Hang on. Oh, 2 bags. Look at that. 2 bags. $4.80 something. $4.80 something cents for these vegan marshmallows. I got the regular vegan vanilla flavored marshmallows, regular size. We'll tear into that. And because I was feeling fancy, feeling like a bit of a dandy today, I got the miniatures. So I'm all set for this stream. Mary, what's up? Mary, you got your marshmallow? I got, look at this. Look at this. Regular and miniature. We can go small, we can go big. Doesn't matter. We can do what we want. All right. This is going to be a fun stream. I want to give people a chance to get here. And so I've got Vegan Gaze pulled up, our good buddy. And I got my Vegan Gaze mug, marshmallows and black coffee with my Vegan Gaze mug, which makes me pretty badass. You got your dandies? Good. I'm glad. All right. Got a few videos before we get into the main event, the marshmallow event. Hope y'all are ready to roast some marshmallows. All right. Here's our friend L, Vegan Gaze. What I've learned being vegan for 11 years, my advice. You know, Ali claims he was vegan for 13 years. Maybe he could watch this video. Let's check it out.
Now, I've spoken in a couple of videos about why I went vegan, but upon now becoming my 11th year of being vegan, I thought it was about time I made a video about why you go
How's the
vegan
volume?
and how more primarily you stay that way. I'm probably not too qualified to talk about this, but I have been vegan for over a decade now. So
miniatures or regular? What do you think, Mary? What should I start with? Let's start small. Let's not go crazy. I know I asked and then I just decided, but
I've seen people come and go, and I've seen things that I think are common mistakes, and I would like to go through them and kind of talk about maybe why I've been someone who's stayed this way. It can't be the case that people who stay longer are necessarily special or necessarily more moral or anything like that. Although, yes, there are some people who seem to join veganism and not know what it means. But we're not really going to talk about that so much today.
okay.
But it might be a case of people making mistakes.
Elle, you won't talk about it. I'm going to talk about it today. We'll get into it today.
Along the way, whereby they suddenly come out with a video about how it's okay to eat animals in their eyes now, and we're all shocked. Maybe they didn't do these things and it prevented
Steven,
them from
what's up?
continuing to make the best decision. Number one, don't just feel it, know it. It may feel bad when you see images of animals getting slaughtered, or you see videos of animals being exploited, or you even see it in the flesh. It may feel bad, but you got to know why it's actually bad. So when it comes to the ethics, understand some philosophy. Understand why when someone says bad, what that actually means in your moral framework. I don't mean to know everything. I don't mean to learn German and read Hegel. I just mean know when someone actually asks you, when you end up asking yourself, why do I believe this? You can actually have a foundation to work from that's strong. So then when you weakly come across later down the line, something's a bit inconvenient for you, you suddenly have to pay a little more for marshmallows one time, and you're suddenly like,
Come on, Elle. Come on.
Like, how do I talk myself out of this? You're not doing that because you have this really strong foundation that stops you and goes, you know, that's a bad argument.
Yeah,
When
you
it
know
comes
that's
to diet, for example, we know veganism isn't a diet, but plant-based eating is part of diets. And it's important to know the science behind.
I'm glad that Elle got us started with throwing the shade. Because, guys, I got to be real with you. I'm going to come across pretty petty and immature during this video, okay? And as you'll see, I've let the adults do the talking, okay? I've given them their, I gave them their time. I gave them a chance. Now it's time for me to step in.
Behind, you know, what is a healthy diet? Know things about science. For example, the hierarchy of scientific evidence.
Scrambled
and
tofu,
to go
nice.
back to things like ethics, which is really the most fundamental and important part, learn things like the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic value. Learn about things that seem very basic and we don't really think about a lot of the time, like rights. You know, we're animal rights activists, and a lot of people don't really know about rights. Some don't even believe in rights. Maybe learn about that for yourself. But yeah, actually learn the arguments, actually hear the debunks, hear the retorts, and find out if you can actually dismantle them yourself logically. Can you do it in a logically consistent manner? Can you do it in a manner that doesn't lead to absurd conclusions that means an eternal killing of a human race? If you know these things, it makes it a lot easier to stick to your values because they won't just change with the weather, which seems to be how a lot of people function. Number two, let inspiring voices light a fire within you. You can say something over and over again, it's going to get very tiresome. You're going to end up not liking the sound of your own voice, especially if you end up being an animal rights activist that does some stuff on social media and you hear your voice over and over again. Trust me, I probably edited this bit and cringed out a little bit at the sound of my own voice. Listen to the voices of other people reframing things in a way that you might not have thought about it before. You could be 5 years vegan and hear something new and profound that relights the fire within you. Funnily enough, I had a bit of a burnout, a bit of a compassion fatigue, a bit of a crisis about whether or not I would even continue to do animal rights advocacy on social media about over a year ago. And it was listening to The Grave, a vegan deathcore band that really lit a fire up my butthole. And here I am a year and a half later just carrying on. Sometimes you just...
Fuck yeah. To the grave, man. Like, oh man. I am so glad that Elle introduced me to the Grave. They have become one of my favorite bands of all time. Of all time. And yes, a lot of it has to do with their messaging, of course, but it's also just good music. If you like loud, aggressive, angry sounding music, which let's face it, if it's music about what we do to animals, that's a very appropriate emotion.
Just need to hear it, maybe through music, maybe through...
Oh no. She has a To the Grave shirt that I don't have. I need to start shopping on their website, I guess. I could use a To the Grave shirt, guys. I could use one. I do have my Elle mug, though. I've got that.
Speech, maybe through a documentary or something of that manner that makes you remember why you're so pissed off. But there's so many inspiring activists, there's so many inspiring people who genuinely care like you do. And I think it's really refreshing to know that you're not alone in your own thoughts and feelings. So to hear someone who is also waking up and then they're having their coffee or they're having their tea or whatever they're having, and then they're like, oh yeah, how do I kick the butt of animal agriculture? How do I stop people exploiting animals? It's just like, oh, you care.
And by the way, we're going to go through some stuff that Chris Hines has written as well during this live stream. Good friend Chris Hines, friend of the channel. He's awesome. You guys know Chris Hines. And it was Chris Hines, who's sort of like the music expert in, you know, our movement. He's making a documentary about, you know, music and animal rights, and I can't wait for that. I believe it's called Taking Note. And he's the one who introduced L to the grave. So yeah. And as I said to Chris, and after Elle told me this, like, I am quite ashamed that I didn't know who To the Grave was, which tells me that band needs to be spread around in our circles a little bit more. Because I get it if, you know, you're not into deathcore metal stuff. Sure. It's not for everybody. But we should know who that band is, since they are, more than any band that I know, they are like all in. There are definitely bands that talk about animal rights as part of their repertoire, but To the Grave, it's their whole repertoire, talking about activism and animal stuff. I shouldn't say their entire repertoire, but it's like a lot of it. It's like well over 75%, I'd say.
Too. That's really nice. I'm going to carry on because I feel like I have support in this. So the mistake that people make there is they go vegan, they learn everything, and then they think they've learned everything, right? So when I say they learn everything, they learn enough, but you never stop learning. Animal rights is such a massive topic, like just little segments of it, just about animals themselves, about their behavior, about horrific unthought of things that we actually do to animals. It's just whole branches of just endless stuff to know.
Endless. And I keep making this point too, that I always feel like I'm gonna eventually reach the bottom of the well of information about this stuff, because I have read a lot of books about animal rights topics now, and continue to, and there's still a lot more to get through. And no, they're not just retreading all the same old stuff. I keep learning new stuff in every book. And a good example of that is Elizabeth Malampy's book, a recent interview I did with Elizabeth Malampy, who is an animal rights attorney, Harvard-based attorney, who wrote about animal festivals. And I knew maybe 10% of what she wrote. I knew about the Iditarod, I knew about Groundhog Day, but she told us all about all these random animal festivals that you would never hear of unless you like lived in those regions or you had some kind of interest in this topic, you know. But yeah, anyway, check that book out. It's called Forget the Camel.
No. And then when you think you know it all, someone comes along and tells you another fact and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. That's the mistake people make. They think they've heard it all. They don't want to hear it from anyone else. Find hobbies that integrate veganism. You know, for example, one of my hobbies is to listen to the genre deathcore. I really enjoy it as a subgenre. And, you know, I found To the Grave, and To the Grave are like a vegan deathcore band. And, you know, just having them merge with something I'm also passionate about just is like extra passion. But yeah, if you're passionate about photography, maybe you could get into doing something like We Animals do,
right,
you know, where they take photos of the plight of animals. On the other side of the coin, people make the mistake where they don't find things outside of veganism. I don't mean suddenly find a hobby that exploits animals, like, I don't know, riding a donkey, something of that nature. I mean, find something that isn't just about animal rights. I know people who would actually criticize that and be like, no, every living, breathing moment has to be about animal rights. And I used to think that, and I used to do that. I was like, hang on, would it not be more beneficial to just have time away so that I can come back refreshed and chipper? I think I've been able to just carry on doing animal rights advocacy for so long because I have taken moments where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to spend some time with my friends. We're not really going to, you know, talk about animal rights for 5 seconds. You know, I'm going to talk to these people who don't do animal rights advocacy just so I have some time to breathe and think.
Yeah. Elle and I discussed this too in our interview, and we're similar, me and her. Like, we do need that time away from all of this to be able to recharge the batteries a bit. And it can be tough because you sort of feel guilty in those moments, like, you know, the animals don't get a break, right? But I do think it's beneficial. I do think for several reasons why I think it's beneficial. One, it helps you recharge, which is obviously important. Another thing is that it just makes you more of a well-rounded person, which is also important. If animal rights is all we think about all the time, how are we going to relate to people in any kind of way? Like, and this is not a criticism. By the way, if you can do it 24 hours a day, we need that. Obviously, we need people like that. But this is for, I think, the vast majority of us that do need it at times, just be able to, like, I still enjoy gaming, or I still, want to go and hang out with my buddies, right? That aren't vegan activists, right? Or like Elle was saying, I'm just retreading what she's saying. But yeah, those things are important, I think. And I just think it's also just important to be able to speak intelligently about a lot of different topics. So for instance, I have been reading a lot of like animal rights topic books and stuff like that. But there are books that I want to read that are beyond that and that sort of thing. YouTube videos. I don't have to watch endless vegan debates on my YouTube channel. I mean, when I go on YouTube, I mean. I can just watch Ryukar play Super Mario World, Super Mario Maker, or I'm Dante react to scary videos, or watch, whatever the things that I do, which is like, I also like get interested in like true crime stuff on YouTube. So anyway, all that to say, don't take a break now. Like you need to stay with me during this video, but you might feel burnt out at the end of this video because this live stream was so great. And you're like, how's anything ever going to top that? And the answer is nothing will. Nothing ever will. And so you have to sort of like come to the acceptance that this is the best it will this is the best it will ever be. And then you move on, recharge the batteries, come back and see other people try to attempt something similar. I'm just kidding, obviously. I don't have the big head like Ali. Okay. I'm not a genius like Ali is. We know Ali's a genius. An intellectual. I'm constantly finding out that just when I thought our objectification of other animals couldn't surprise or depress or disgust me, I find out otherwise, and not for the better in most cases. Indeed, for me, one of my distractions is video games. Same. Y'all know that. Y'all know I've been playing Tomb Raider. Nothing vegan. I mean, she's fit. Lara Croft is fit like a vegan, but we get attacked by dogs at times during this. So, you know that. Anyway. Sometimes I feel guilty because I don't talk veganism all the time, Mary. Yeah, you can't. You can't. Also, like, I mean, let's be real. Like, it would become insufferable. Like, I mean, animal rights is important, right? But if you're just injecting that into every conversation, I mean, that's a turnoff to most people. Finding appropriate ways to advocate for animals is better, I think. Like it's not always. Everything doesn't always have to revolve around it, is what I'm saying. But all that said, we do have to keep in mind, and the people who I've interviewed recently, as you'll see soon, made this point that their time is different. We're on different time links. I'll give you guys a bit of a teaser of the interview that I did the other day in a bit.
About my own stuff, because I am a human outside of this who would like to think about other things for a moment so that I could come back to this with a fresh perspective. It probably is better for longevity. I don't have any evidence, but probably is better for longevity to just take a moment to enjoy some time with your partner or your friends, or go and do something,
Or pause L to take a sip from an L mug. It's important to just take some time to take a sip. It's important.
Kick a ball around or something like that. There's just not necessarily to do with an animal rights group or stuff like that. I have a feeling, and this is all I have, that it's probably better to do. I look back sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, I took a break for a little while. Recently, I took a break because I was moving house and I was like, oh my God, like, oh, kicking myself. But I'm like, actually, if I want to be an animal rights advocate, when I'm in my 50s, because let's be real, people are going to still be exploiting animals then, I probably am going to be thankful that I took this time to just deal with stuff like moving house. Compassion fatigue, I've noticed it seems to be really real. People go all in and then they realize they're not really getting stuff out of it that they wanted, and then they just give up altogether. Sometimes it's just on the advocacy or whatever, but some people just full on give up on veganism because they want nothing to do with that anymore, as if it's the animal's fault that they
Right.
went all in. But it is real. People do that. And we have to recognize that we could be susceptible to that, even if we think we know ourselves so well. Oh, I would never do that. People do, and we're not
People do
more
it.
special than them. So something is going wrong, something is happening. Number 5, and this is a really important one, actually connect with the victims. People often make veganism about them.
Yeah.
When people say they're no longer vegan, all you hear is them talk about themselves, and that's
Mhm.
kind of it. The talk of the animals just kind of goes out the window completely. It's like, hello, this wasn't about you, this was about them. And too often, they haven't actually taken a chance to connect with the animals. It's quite hard to connect with billions of individuals as a concept. What's that saying? It's like 1 death is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic. And it seems to be the case that we can't empathize or connect with that level of atrocity. And the level of atrocity that is happening to animals is out of our reach. We would not be able to comprehend it. So take your time to actually support a sanctuary, for example, or go to farms and see what happens for yourself. I think one of the reasons why I've been able to just carry on is because quite quickly into becoming vegan, I went to farms. I saw for myself what happened, and I've seen it routinely over the years. And I am quite frankly disgusted, and was disgusted, remain disgusted. And I have a chance to connect with those individuals who are definitely dead now. They were killed if they were not dying on the floor already. I think for some people, because plant-based diets became quite trendy, people came into veganism thinking it was this cool concept, but they completely forgot who it was about along the way. Give yourself a chance. Not everyone is very good with empathy. I don't think, when I consider it quite deeply, I don't actually think I'm that great with empathy. It's the compassion that has to kick in. You have to give yourself that chance to give compassion to an individual. So allow yourself the chance by actually taking the time to connect with them. Go to a sanctuary, go to a farm, see these individuals, and recognize that, yeah, this is actually something tangibly happening to these individuals directly as a result of purchasing certain products or taking certain actions involving animals. Number 6, figure out who you are. Are you the sort of person who wants to exploit animals? Are you that person? Your identity will shape your actions more than you ever could. If you identify with someone who is a compassionate individual, it will probably remain the case that you take compassionate actions, but not on a superficial level, on a genuine level. Figure out who you want to be. Do you want to be someone who, when you die, people remember you as someone who actually genuinely cared about individuals? Well, then act that way. Just take the time to actually sit down with yourself and go, okay, who do I want to be? And then along the way, you will carve that. And veganism will be one of those things where you're just doing bare minimum by not participating in the exploitation of animals.
Right. And just to add a little, I just agree that veganism is a bare minimum thing. It's just, that's how it should be viewed. Now I recognize when some people go vegan right at the beginning, it can seem difficult. And some of my viewers are going through that right now. I know that. I recognize that. Over time, you will find this is easy. This is really easy. And it is just the bare minimum. That's it. That's it. So does it make us better than anybody? No, of course not. But it's just living with values, living, by the values that we typically hold, right? Most people, unless they're psycho lunatics. And man, like I said, I keep watching true crime, and the number of like people who go on to unalive people that have unalived and tortured animals is just through the roof. It's such a red flag. So most of us believe that harming animals is wrong, and veganism is just living by that very obvious and very baseline moral value.
Number 7, and I think this is quite an interesting one, is to be part of multiple communities within the movement. I think I've had the benefit, because I'm quite an introverted person. I think anywhere I go, I feel just this kind of itching feeling that I don't belong. So I end up kind of doing things a bit by myself, or flowing in and out of certain groups, like just, like I'm thinking like I'll go to a We the Free event, I'll go for a Stand for Animals event. I have no allegiance to a certain like group or anything. I just like them individually or don't like them individually. So I go to them or don't go to them. But I see a lot of people relied too heavily on one group. And then inevitably it kind of goes wrong, because groups of people kind of change and problems arise and things like that. But then unfortunately, they fall out with a person, then it doesn't go right, and things happen, and then they end up leaving animal rights advocacy completely, or even veganism, blame the whole thing, tarnish every vegan with the same brush. And it's like,
this is a great point that Elle is making. I'm really glad she's making this point, because I have had this experience in so many different activist circles. Well, when I say so many, like three activist circles. Okay, 3, which is, like 3 of the probably 5 that I've been a part of, so like it's the majority where things just start to go wrong. Someone begins acting toxic for whatever reason. There becomes, there happens to be disagreements about certain things, usually well-intentioned disagreements that sometimes blow out of proportion. And yeah, and I, not to pat myself on the back, I feel like I have had the same sort of background that Elle did, where I also feel slightly introverted, although I've become more extroverted over time. But I never put all my chips on one color, so to speak. Like I never was just like, I'm DXC, I'm Simple Heart, right? I'm AAC, I'm East Coast, West Coast. I'm none of those and all of those, right? Like I'm with all of you guys. And that has really helped me when certain dramas arise or whatever, to really be able to just duck out of them and just ignore it and carry on. And if you go all in on one, then you're really susceptible to the whims of the group. And yeah, I mean, when there's drama, which can be very draining of your energy and your time and all of that, and the animals sort of get short shrift when that happens, you're just going to wear down, right? So you got to be able to like at least call a buddy, right? Who's like not part of that group, which is what I've often done. Just like, damn, like let's talk about X. And if you have, like one of the things that's really helped me in activism is that I've been very lucky to find several people who have been those kinds of people that I can just kind of talk to for like a few hours, like, even just call up and be like, because they get it and they understand. Not everybody has that luxury. I'm not saying you automatically find that, but it has helped me for sure.
that probably could have been avoided if they didn't go all in, get the hoodie, go to every single event without fail.
I try not to do the cult mentality, Stephen. I try. True crime stuff drives me crazy to a large degree, because every horrible thing that they talk about, the psycho or socio do, sounds standard for the animal exploitation industries and non-vegans. Right. And you start and then you start to see things just through those lenses, right? You start to see that everything through that lens. Yeah. And the world becomes a very dark place.
Fail. But maybe this is something that you shouldn't take the advice of, because maybe you are someone who's all in. You have to be part of a group. But then you have to remember to be resilient in that case and make sure that you don't put all of your emotions into that one group, because groups are made of people, and people can be difficult. So navigating that group can be difficult. But I think being fluid across different groups gives you that flexibility and gives you that space that you might need. So maybe it's just I'm putting my experience in it too much, where I'm just like, that would smother me. I'd feel.
No, you're right, Elle. I think you're right. Unless, I'm sure Elle and I are different in many ways, but unless we're kind of similar in that regard, because Elle and I, we see eye to eye on that. That is my experience as well.
Too obligated to just do everything for the purpose of that group. Whereas I think I've learned quite a bit, because I've gone to different groups, seen how they've done it, and learned things along the way. And I think that's improved my advocacy, at least. Number 8, merge your skills into your advocacy so you can feel helpful. I think this is quite a given. People argue all day about what the best thing to do is. And I think a lot of it just kind of boils down to what probably would be the best thing to do is the thing that you're actually good at. If you're really good at video editing, maybe you should make videos for people, or maybe even yourself. Or perhaps you're a really funny person, become a vegan comedian. Or maybe you're...
What up, Mobius? How are you? Yeah, a vegan comedian. That sounds pretty good. I don't think I'm funny enough. I try.
Really not funny, so you should stick away from that and get into article writing, or maybe even write a book or something like that. There's so much to do that so many people can be good at. Just find what it is.
She took me right back down to earth.
And do that. Number 9, know your limits. This one's controversial. I've seen a lot of people, say, oh, you need to watch all the slaughterhouse footage. I've met a few people who are like, I watch every single day. It's like, do what you got to do, to keep the fire going.
Yeah.
But there is a really poignant quote that my candle burns at both ends. It will not last the night, but to my dear friends, it gives off a lovely light. And if your candle burns at both ends, I think it goes without saying that you're not going to last as long. So that is something to consider. Maybe it would lead to.
Why is it that when we say methinks, then it's plural? Wait, no, not plural. Just has an S. I don't know. Never mind.
Something like compassion fatigue, and before you know it, you will hate anything to do with veganism and suddenly think eating the corpses of animals is something good for you. It could well happen. It happens to people, and they're not like, I don't know, demons, they're people who are just making mistakes. And we too could do that. Even if I want to say, and I say it all the time, I've been saying it, there's no way. Like, my partner would be absolutely shocked. We talked about this. I was like, whoa, what would you think if I just turned around and was like eating a cow? And she was like, I would just be like completely blown away. Like, it'd just be so shocking. It's just so unheard of to people who know me that I would do that. But you've got to be open-minded and understand that you could be susceptible. So you have to do the work to remind yourself why it's the right thing to do.
I hear you, Elle, but I don't think you're susceptible to that. I think it takes quite a special person to have been vegan for 11 years, or in Allie's case, 13 years, and then turn your back on the animals, especially after knowing what you know. But as we're going to get into, it's very clear that Allie was never a vegan. And I have evidence of that. I brought the receipts, and we are going to go through them.
Doing the right thing. It's just no longer doing a wrong thing. It's just like anything else. I could say I'm just like never going to murder a human being, but people do. And they're not like, evil. That's just too, like, that would be an easier world if that was the case. But no, complicated stuff goes into this, things lead up to it. And, one of those things could be not, taking into account that you have a limit, you have a breaking point, you need to take care of yourself along the way. If that's taking a break to do some therapy, if that's being like, no, I'm not going to watch slaughterhouse footage, actually, yeah, I'm going to kind of tinkle with my algorithm so I don't see so much.
Tinkle with it. Come on. L. She meant tinker with it, obviously, but that was pretty funny. Don't tinkle with the algorithm, guys. Don't tinkle with it. Damn, I was about to say something brilliant, and then she just hit me with that. Y'all just have to trust that whatever it was that I was thinking to say was going to be profound, life-changing commentary.
Much of that, and I see more positive stuff with animals, and I see like happy sanctuary videos, for example, just for like a month, so I don't have to see that stuff because I already know. Like, I think that's fine. A lot of the people who were like, yeah, watch every day.
Oh, here's the brilliance. Okay, now y'all are going to understand it wasn't that brilliant, but I was just going to say that most of my friends who are activists have not watched, well, I shouldn't say most, but a significant number of them, including some of the very best, not to rank activists or anything. We shouldn't do that, I guess. But, some of the most solid people that I know have not and will not watch something like Dominion or Earthlings. And because, to put it frankly, they don't need to. Like, they already know, they've already seen it, in either in person or through other means like videos and that sort of thing. And that's fine. Like, Dominion and Earthlings, I don't think was made for vegans. It was made to show non-vegans in the public what happens.
Are like not even vegan anymore, which is just shocking. Like, you
Mobius,
see what happens and you just stop. Like, we're supposed to grow and learn. Like, how do you regress? But it happens. Yeah. And I don't know exactly why it happens, but it does. So here are the things that I think will help with the longevity and staying that way. Just remember who you are, and actually remember the victims is probably the best advice that I could give, because this is about the plight of these sentient individuals. Every single day, there's something trying to validate the idea that they are something.
Yeah. See, I would say, Mobius, if you were someone who did consume animals, I would say, yeah, you need to see that. But the fact that you don't, well, you don't need to torture yourself. I wouldn't have become vegan if I didn't watch Dominion and Jeremy. That makes me feel really good, Mary, to have had an impact on your life in that way. Not that I'm just learning this. You've told me this before, but it is, it means a whole lot to me, and obviously to the animals. I've been vegan nearly 10 years and I've never seen Dominion. I've watched Earthlings, but that was about 8 years in. Had to take 4 breaks to finish it. Yeah. See, again, you're the kind of person, it's like, maybe it's good to know, like, sometimes it's like good to know what's in the docs, but you already know. You already know. So
they're not someone. It's so ingrained into people that I've literally watched people have epiphanies that dogs might have personalities. This stuff that's like so clear. And it's like, oh, of course, we've got to be confused by the concept of them having personalities, because then
I don't understand this either. This like kind of epiphany. Oh, dogs have personalities. Like, everyone who has a dog knows that they react differently to different dogs. Like, oh, my pup is not good around other pups, right? Or my pup is good. That's right there already a differing personality.
And suddenly we can't be taking them to puppy mills and breeding them and cropping their ears and cutting off their tails because
Earthlings. Yeah, Earthlings is what made me vegan, Stephen. I think you already know that, but that's what did it for me.
we like the look of it. Maybe it's easier for us if they don't have personalities. Stuff like that. But 11th year vegan. I hope there was stuff here that was of value, and I hope you don't mind the new setup. I'm like just still like stuff, boxes and stuff. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your advice is to people when it comes to longevity as animal rights advocates and being vegan just as a bare minimum. Anyway, I do hope you're well, and until next time, salads, obviously.
All right, great video, Elle. That was fantastic video. I would write on her comments, but she really well covered it, didn't she? She really did. All right, there's the link to that video. Please show Elle some love, like I'm about to do. That was just a really good video. That was great. All right. Okay. Here's a little tease of who I interviewed the other day. Oh, who could it be? Who could it be? Y'all know who it is. It's Mel and Steve. Two of my favorite people on the planet, by the way. Like, I have only spoken to them several times, but I mean, damn, like, you can't get better, have more energy, and they are wonderful. They are wonderful. So I need to get on the ball. I'm not doing it right now, obviously. I wanted to do this live stream. I've wanted to for days, but I need to get on the ball and come up with a nice clip to promote that interview and then put it out. But you'll see that soon. And they are as great as you imagine in that interview. I mean, I have a wealth of things that I can pull from that interview to promote it because they're so articulate. They're so well spoken and so passionate. So anyway, yeah. Kane, what's up? What's up? How you doing, Kane? Let's go through this, and then we'll get to the main event.
Towards the sun.
They think a sunflower can feel pain, but fish can't feel pain. So you're okay killing street dogs then? Oh gosh. He just did it. Did you hear that?
2 words. God's plan. Animals have rights as well as humans.
They should do, shouldn't they? I agree with you. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah.
You agree? So at the moment, animals actually don't have rights. So
I swear, this has got to be true that I've reacted to more Mel and Steve than anybody. It's got to be true. It's probably a tie between, it's probably Mel and Steve, followed closely by Vegan Gays, followed closely by Natalie, Bolton, and maybe Arvind. We've reacted to a lot of Arvind, but yeah, they just crank it out. They just
like how humans have rights protecting them against like other people and stuff, and the person who would like come and kill you would go to prison.
Yeah.
Animals don't have that. So like you can stab animals in a slaughterhouse, you can throw them in gas chambers.
It's definitely cruel, but like I do still like meat.
How about you?
Yeah, it's cruel. I still like meat.
I don't think I could really, as they're saying, I don't think I could really live without meat. It's terrible and stuff, but I think one person stop it.
By the way, I do have my vegan marshmallows, guys. We're eating the miniatures. I've got 2 bags. That's how cheap they are. You know what? They're not expensive. $4.85. Something like that. So I bought 2 bags, miniatures and large. We'll eat the miniatures, and we get to the main event. We'll eat some of the large ones, if not all of them. If not all of them. It was a harrowing experience going to get those marshmallows too, by the way. Similar to Ali's story, I had to get in the car and drive to the store and buy the marshmallows. It was tough, guys. It was tough. I just hope y'all appreciate how much work I put into bringing you the prop of the marshmallows.
to stop eating meat, and it's not going to slow down the production.
Dennis, what's
Like,
up?
Yeah, it shows.
Dennis, I have to thank you. Axel, somebody named Axel joined my stream. Thanks to you. He said, Dennis, highly recommended I join this stream. And Axel joined. So thank you very much for helping promote. That was really nice of you.
It's good ethics from that individual, but it's not going to slow down the production. It's not going to stop these animals from being killed, is what I think. And it's, if there was like larger amounts of people being aware about this, then yeah, maybe it could make a change. But
So you've just contradicted what you just said there. So you said
It was tough, Mary. It was, my God. Navigating that, I wish Felix was here. Navigating that marshmallow minefield, as he called it, was tough. I literally, guys, y'all want to know how tough this was? Okay, I went in the store, right? Looked all around. I was like, I didn't find the vegan marshmallows. I was like, oh God, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad. You know, what am I going to do if I don't have the vegan marshmallows? So here's what I did, y'all, and it's going to blow your mind. I asked the clerk, you know, the lady, the cashier, I said, you know, do you guys sell those vegan marshmallows? She said, yeah, we do. She took me right to them. But, ooh, that was dicey, you know? And it's heroism like that, you know, that, the point that I'm making is I understand, Ali. I understand how tough it is. That was really hard. Guys, I just want to take a moment. They're hard, you know, they're hard. It's tough being a victim in this world. Okay, obviously, fake tears, not my thing.
can't make a difference.
Can't do
And
it.
then you say once a
Felix,
group of people, a large group of people stop, it makes a
it
difference.
has to be like incredibly large. Like,
Felix, I navigated the marshmallow minefield today. It was dicey. It was dicey. Almost got splattered with marshmallow goo. Almost got splattered.
But actually, do you know how many animals go to slaughter for you every single year if you're not vegan? Do you know the number? About 300. Yeah, personally for you. So you said you can't make a change, but actually imagine if there was 200 animals or 300 animals down the street looking at you. Would you say, I don't really care about you, I want to eat you, you can go to the slaughterhouse? Or would you stand in front of them and go, you know what, we shouldn't really be killing you. Like, if we can live without harming you, would you be strong enough to stand in front of them and say, no, I'm going to protect you?
I probably wouldn't stand in front of a large group of cows.
But you know what I mean?
I'd probably just leave.
Okay, how about you?
I don't know. Obviously, I feel a bit bad.
Leave. I probably wouldn't stand in front of a large group of cows.
But you know what I mean?
I'd probably just leave.
Okay, how about you?
In Mel's head right now, she's like, I wish I had heard inside her head right there.
I don't know. Obviously, I feel a bit bad, but
You feel bad. So you do have some kind of heart in there.
Thank you.
yeah.
And I understand that when you're with a group of friends and it's like you're laughing and stuff.
Dennis, I mean, things have been tough as I've described, you know. I can't say it's been easy. I had to go to the store today to get some vegan marshmallows, and I mean, y'all already knew how dicey of a situation that can be, thanks to the wisdom of Tabrizispiracy. But you know, I just experienced it firsthand. Oh, it was hard.
But this is really serious.
not laugh. I'm not in it off now with some of the animals, not
Okay.
because of the awkwardness of the situation. Like, if I eat animals,
Mel and
like,
Steve is here.
over,
Oh my
like,
God.
what billion
What an honor. What an honor. Thank you for being here, Mel and Steve. And Mel and Steve, I am, as you can see, I'm currently not working on that clip. But I swear I will get to it tomorrow. I will work on that clip. I will do it. But, you know, I'm doing the next best thing right now, which is reacting to Mel and Steve, you know.
of people doing this well, like if I eat animals just like everyone else, it doesn't mean I don't like animals. I love animals.
Does it not?
Obviously. No, it really doesn't. I can still love animals.
Can you love them and stab them in the throat?
Well, no, because I don't stab animals in the throat. I go to college. I don't work on a farm. My job isn't to
Okay,
stab animals in the
okay,
throat. I'm not looking to.
But do you now understand after what you saw in those screens that you're paying someone to do that on your behalf personally? Because before today,
I'm going to assume that there's nobody in this chat who hasn't subscribed to Mel and Steve yet, but if there is, please make sure you do subscribe. And I'll send the link right now.
You see the adverts and stuff. You probably have never seen the truth behind a product on the supermarket shelf, and I hadn't as well. So I'm not here to judge you at all. We're just here to educate the public, because good people change when they see bad things happen.
Yeah, 100%. I see what you're saying. Obviously, the video has made me it's affected my viewpoint quite a bit on the whole situation. I think I'm not sure if I could really change for this, but I feel like it's definitely it's not done nothing. Essentially, it's made me.
Why wouldn't you? Because
This guy seems like he's a little more compassionate than his buddies who are obviously putting up a front. Yeah, we also talked about, Mel and Steve and I, we talked about some of the psychology of change, and why people sort of have their guard up at times during like a street outreach event like this.
I've got to say, when I saw 10 seconds of this inside of a slaughterhouse, I broke. I can't stop thinking about what I saw.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, these
Oh
animals.
yeah, Mel, if that's you, could be Steve, but if it's you, Mel, yeah, when that guy was like, yeah, I just leave, and you were like, okay, and then you moved the mic, what was really going on in your head? And I think I've already cursed, so it's okay, you can do it.
Need protection, they need rescuing and saving. I stand outside slaughterhouses and I can hear them crying for mercy and begging for their life. And I just know if good people saw what I saw, that they would change. And I'm wondering, why wouldn't you change? If you said what's in there, what happens to them isn't fair and we shouldn't be doing it, but you like meat, why would you continue to do it when you don't have to do it?
Because meat is a part of it's a human. It is essential for us to consume. It's
do you think you can?
Yeah, so I mean, dude, you realize there's someone standing right in front of you that is evidence that it's not essential for you. I don't understand. Does he think she's malnourished or something? I mean, yeah. This is sometimes good when you have Steve, who's real built, standing right in front of you. Meat is essential, and you're looking at Steve. Come on.
Can survive without consuming.
But Mel can throw down, I think. Oh yeah. Mel, like I said, Mel's the one that if you need someone to go hard on somebody, you call Mel. That's what Colin told me. Colin Pink Hines. I do still believe that integrating health veganism arguments as opposed to only ethical would reach a greater number of people. This is the ideal human diet. Could be. I don't have any evidence on one way or the other. Especially, but obviously if you're getting into that discussion with people, then they bring it up to you, then obviously you can respond to it. Otherwise, I would say it's probably better to keep things on ethics as much as you can. But that's just my opinion. I don't have any evidence on that.
Them?
Well, I prefer not to just eat chemicals or buy more expensive plant-based products I don't even enjoy eating.
Everything you just said doesn't happen.
What do you mean?
That was verbal diarrhea like that. You're not eating chemicals. When you eat animals, you're eating flesh.
Verbal
You're
diarrhea.
eating dead bodies that are rotting.
We're meant to eat flesh. We're not meant to eat chemicals.
Why are we meant to? If we're meant to eat it, why does it make us so sad when we see what happens to animals?
That's just part of life.
Have you watched it?
No, but that's
all right. Go and watch.
That's not part of life. That's part of death. The opposite of life is what you're describing. The opposite. So you couldn't be further from correct. Okay.
Watch it first. I'll have a chat afterwards.
I'm not watching it.
Okay. Why don't you want to watch it if we're meant to eat it?
It won't change my mind.
No. Why you want to watch it if we're meant to eat it?
Closed-mindedness. It won't change my mind, so I won't watch it. Right. Yeah. This is great, by the way. They're getting all flustered and all triggered. You can see it.
You can't even watch what you pay for. I can. I'm gonna speak to these guys because they watched it, because you can't comprehend how bad it is. What if you were in their position? What would you want someone to do?
Well, I wouldn't really know I'm about to get killed, so.
Okay, it's always Mel on socials. I just remember seeing him change from someone who was kind and caring, and then he just went silly after his friends came. Interesting. So he showed promise before. And we're talking about that guy, this guy with the hat, because he just had that dismissive answer and you were just like, okay, moving on.
Does that make it justified?
Nah, I'm just saying I'm not an animal. I'm a human, and we've always.
Do you not have empathy? Do you not have empathy?
Sorry. Can I just?
I don't know. I have a little bit.
Yeah. What if there were dogs in there?
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of dogs in the first place.
Would you kill?
One thing, I mean, obviously these guys are young. They look like they're 19, 20, I don't know, young guys. And this is how guys act when they're around their friends. So it's not really surprising the way they're acting, but yeah.
Kill them and send them into a gas
It is still disappointing though.
chamber?
I'm not really a big fan of dogs in the first place.
Would you kill them and send them into a gas chamber?
I'd never eat. I'd feel it bad.
Yeah, I've
I killed
only
my
been
hand.
drop into like a gas chamber, but if someone else is doing it, it's not my problem.
You'd be okay with killing dogs now?
Well, I'm not killing dogs.
But you were okay if someone killed dogs for you, if you want to eat them?
Well, I'm not eating dogs.
But is that your standpoint? Because you just said you wouldn't do it yourself, but it would be okay if someone else did.
No?
You wouldn't care?
I'm not really-
You wouldn't care? Do you not care if people were killing dogs for you? You wouldn't care?
They're trying the old Tristan Tate defense. Yeah, I don't care. Who cares?
I would care, to be fair.
Okay.
Dogs, have been a big part of my life. As in, they've obviously my childhood dog got me through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like what if
Yeah,
your
this guy is really risking it with his buddies. He's standing out from his friends.
dog who you loved went in there, how would you feel?
Without
Dogs are a
my
bit
consent.
different to like a pig or a cow though, because you don't really
Okay,
have
why?
too much of a connection with them.
So you're okay
Exactly.
with killing street dogs then?
Exactly. And that's why you should think beyond that and realize, oh, actually, I don't really have much of a connection. It's kind of like, I don't really have much of a connection with you. That doesn't mean I'm going to go and unalive you, right? So obviously not, even though you're kind of a douchebag. That's not reason enough. It's not reason. But you know what? There's still some time. He can redeem himself. There's still nearly 10 minutes of this video, 9 minutes.
Well, no. To be fair, they are dangerous and they do take up a lot of.
But are you
like,
okay with
what?
killing street dogs then? Is it just because you
Again-
have a personal connection?
By hand, I wouldn't kill an animal.
Why?
So, okay, so stray dogs, according to this guy, are dangerous. Who does he think, just out of curiosity, who does he think is more dangerous? Is it the people to the dogs or the dogs to the people? Just curious.
So I'd probably feel bad if I
You
had
feel
to.
bad?
If I've gone like fishing and I want to take that fish home, that's a bit different to like slaughtering dogs.
So if I
What?
got a hook and I caught you with the hook and I dragged you down the road by your face, but it doesn't matter. What's the difference?
We have much more developed brains than.
Okay, he said brain power, intelligence. So I'm
Yeah, but Mel has a much more developed brain than you. So, I mean, by that logic, you're fair game. She could hook you in the face, drag you down the street because of her developed brain.
if I use that against you with the fish, then now what's
Our
your
brain is
justification?
fully neurologically developed much more.
To be fair, your brain is like biologically not developed based on your age. Like your brain is still developing. I think it's until like 25 or 26, and you're definitely not there. And you may even be a little bit behind your peers, including this guy who's obviously very uncomfortable, but you seem to be a little behind him, and he seems to be lagging way far behind this guy. No offense, dude, with the hat.
Than like a fish, for example.
It doesn't seem like your
They don't have
brains
the-
are.
They don't have the thought pathways. I mean,
Yes.
And does
Yes,
that justify
thank
murdering
you,
someone
Mel.
if they don't have the same thought pathways?
they don't even know it's happening.
But does that
I love
justify
that she
killing someone
said
if
it.
they don't know what's happening?
What?
It's not someone. It's a small fish. It's a small thing that's edible. And it
You
helps the
think
rest of the
they're
population.
an object?
Yeah,
Do
sure.
you think they're an object, like a chair?
Well, when it's
Not
cooked, it is.
necessarily, no. I'm just saying they're not an object.
Yeah.
Like, they are living things.
Do
fair
fish,
enough.
do fish feel pain? They
Yep.
don't feel
Honest
pain.
doubter.
We have no.
Is that your true answer? They don't feel
Yeah.
pain. You're on camera as well.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Do you?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Do you think fish feel pain? Honestly.
Probably not for long if they did.
What do you need to have in your body to be able to feel pain?
Nervous system.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah, obviously fish would have a nervous system, so yes, they do feel pain.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but does it connect to the foot pathways?
If you have a brain and a central nervous system, you can feel pain.
Isn't it kind of the same as if we're killing animals? Technically, isn't an insect kind of animal like a mosquito or wasp? If we swat them, that's fine, but it's not fine if we kill sheep or cows.
That's still not fine. I'm not said that's fine.
Pardon?
Oh, it's not fine.
So
I'm not
if
said.
you
But
have-
also, when you're talking about insects, we can talk about insects, right? After we stop paying for animals to go to slaughterhouses and be farmed purely for you. If you're not,
That is a great way to just stop, trying the marginal arguments with me. This insect bullshit. Like, yeah, let's discuss that after we get through with the part that you're directly contributing to.
not vegan, animals are going in there for you. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I've got 2 words. God's plan. It was God's plan for us.
And what did God say, Genesis? What's your food?
We have the million.
Doesn't know. A lot of the people that use the argument about God don't know what is said in the Bible. And hey, fair, okay? I haven't read the Bible all the way through either. And I can't remember all the different lines. But if you're going to use them, you probably should know what they are.
Over the animals.
What does dominion mean?
That we have control over them. They are
Stewardship.
ours.
Yeah,
Care for
stewardship
them.
means we have to care for them.
Dominion means stewardship. So
What? Hat guy made a smart comment? Okay, all right. They are kids, all right. I won't lose all faith.
care and to look after.
Dominion
Like,
is
like humans, like if you have a baby, you have dominion over that baby for care and love and to protect them.
With-
Even if you did, why would you choose to kill animals when you don't have to do that? Are you against animal abuse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you are against it,
Womp
When I
womp.
saw someone smacking their dog, obviously I'm not going to be happy about it.
but you're okay with
Technically, Dennis, that's one word used twice. Just saying. Get it right, okay?
people stabbing animals in the throat? What's worse, slapping a dog or stabbing someone in the throat?
Again, it's not someone though. It's an animal.
You can say you can jump around that if you want to make yourself feel better, but you know that a dog is a someone. You know that a cow is a someone. Like you, I could say
Right.
to you, you're not a someone because you have no feelings towards animals.
I love
Yeah,
that
no,
Mel right now is just like not putting up with the BS. Like, and it's no shade on people who do like sort of entertain the arguments, but she's not even letting them entertain the shit, which I think is so great. And it's appropriate, especially in a street interview where you're not trying to have a really lengthy thing. You're not really trying to do that. You're trying to make some points and send them on their way with something to think about.
I might feel pain or I want to live.
Do you think animals feel empathy towards each other then on that analogy?
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
How do you know?
cows have
Sorry.
pigs?
I've seen them. I've been inside these farms myself undercover. I've seen the mothers in farrowing crates with their dead babies around them. It's horrible.
ASPCA. Wow.
It's really
Yeah. This is a great way to sort of, when you've, as Mel has done, gone on to these places, and then you can say to this person, I've been there, I've seen it. It's really hard to come back from that if you're like the boys. It's hard to come back from that.
easy for you guys to be like, oh yeah, I just like meat, yeah, because it's like what you've always done. But it takes bravery.
And you know in their head, like their respect for her just went skyrocketing. Even if they still act triggered, we'll see.
Face what is actually happening, and I urge you to watch.
But, and I'm sorry to interrupt so many times, but at that point, you're not just talking to somebody and there's nothing wrong with doing street activism, but you're not just talking to someone who only does street activism. Like you are now talking to someone who's investigated, who's been on these places. They're not talking about footage anymore. They're talking about things they've seen with their own two eyes and smelled with their nose and heard with their ears. You know, it's yeah, you can see how it sort of stopped them cold.
One documentary called Dominion on YouTube, because we can talk about it and stuff, but I
did
actually
watch that video. I felt like I was.
Oh
getting
yeah,
bombed.
Mel can get
Yeah.
fierce.
Like, it's mainly because, like, you know, blood and stuff just makes you feel a bit sick. So
and if we're meant to eat animals, surely God would give us a food source that wouldn't bleed and wouldn't have guts and blood and scream for mercy.
Not necessarily. Plants can still feel pain.
Oh God,
Oh gosh, he just did it. He just did it.
he did it.
Did you hear that? Plants feel pain. So a fish, apparently a fish doesn't feel pain, but now plants feel
but
pain.
on your argument, sunflower can move its head towards the sun.
They think that sunflower can feel pain, but fish can't feel pain. What do you think
Yeah, sunflower can feel pain, but not a fish. Not a fish.
plants feel pain?
No.
You don't. Do you think this
I'm not a
tree feels pain?
I don't know.
It's embarrassing that you are talking about a plant. Like, we've just seen animals be decapitated and forced in gas chambers, and you said that's wrong. And now you're trying to deflect by being like, oh, this plant feels pain, this tree feels pain.
Because the way you're talking is like you're trying to make us seem like the most terrible people on earth. We're really not.
No,
How
no.
about you speak to all these?
What's your name? What's your name?
James.
James. That's not what I'm trying to do. That's why I said I do not judge you, because I used to pay for this.
The words you're saying is like it's making us feel like, I don't know about them, but
It ain't
it's
about
like
you,
judging
dude.
our guilty.
Like, it
You
ain't
make us-
That's not
about
about-
you. Like, stop getting, like, get some thicker skin. Like, you walked up there, didn't you? Like, it's not like you got, you know, trapped into this conversation, did you? You walked up there. So, like, grow some thicker skin, right? You know, I think that's the takeaway
Bad
from
thing.
that.
That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you're feeling empathy.
All right, yeah. All this gets put on the internet, and then I just got people like, you know, I don't want this to be put on the internet, and I just got people like, I don't know, taking a piss really.
No, I don't think they were with you because you've been consistent. Do you think what you saw was wrong?
I might, because, you know, honestly, it's just that while you have engaged, the fact that you're getting like really like kind of like, don't put me on the internet. Like, you walked up there, dude.
Let's go back to that. Yes or no?
Yeah, it's fucked up. There should be
Yeah.
there should be much better practices in place.
Okay. How can you do that better?
Putting them to sleep, like you put dogs to sleep when they're
Welcome
ill.
back,
What
Mary.
about if you want to live? Like you said, you put dogs to sleep when they're ill, and that doesn't happen in slaughterhouses. But how can you take someone's life who doesn't want to die?
How can I take someone's life if they don't want to die?
Injustifiably.
Like,
You can't. Yeah. There's no answer, and that's okay. I'm just talking to him now because you said plants feel pain, so you're out.
yeah, you're out of a competition.
Yeah, you just watch Dominion on YouTube because you started with empathy, and I think it's when people come along is when you change. It's because your demeanor changed. But go home, watch Dominion on YouTube.
Like a channel, like,
Yeah.
That's that. God, I love it. She just calls people like, she's not like worried about how sensitive they are going to be when she say like, your demeanor changed. Mel's getting good at this. Like, not that she hasn't been for a long time, but she's like getting to be expert at this.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll talk to you after I finish talking here. Yeah. What's better, killing or not killing?
My
Well, when
impression.
you say that, if you say how do you kill someone who doesn't want to die, you think all them sex offenders who get like put in the electric chair want to die? No, they don't. Or
Do you think the animals are criminals?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mel.
If I ask ChatGPT this, he'll probably give me a better answer. I'm just a bit stupid, so I don't know.
What's your answer? Do you think killing them is good, or do you think just let them live? What do you think they want?
Well, I mean, it's like, unless, I mean, they can't really experience mental health problems. They can't really feel suicidal. So yeah, they probably want to live, don't they?
Yeah. Just remember that you're responsible for that. If you're not living vegan, they're in there for you personally.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what vegan is?
Vegan? Yeah, I mean, you're just like not eating animals and that.
No.
Oh.
Vegan is a moral stance. You know, like how people aren't racist or aren't homophobic. We're not speciesist. So it's someone who doesn't exploit animals or use them. So we don't eat them, we don't wear them, don't buy things tested on them, because we think animals should have a right to their own life. Like you come over and said animals should have rights, and they should.
Yeah.
So would you help grant them rights? Would you stop paying for this to happen for you directly?
So you're saying would I turn vegan? You're essentially saying.
Yeah.
So that's the question here.
Yeah.
Would you stop paying for it?
Sorry, I have to respond.
And look, I know your friends are here, so you don't have to tell me.
No, like honest. If I'm being really honest, like you know, I'm only 17. I've got a lot of life to live. Like, at the minute, I think I've got a lot of stuff going on. I think.
Do you think you have more stuff going on than the animals going in gas chambers and blended up in the egg industry? This is something that's easy, right, for you to walk in to Tesco's, wherever you go to buy food or whatever, just move your hand. All you've got to go is go in Starbucks. Can I have an oat latte instead of a cow's milk one? Can I get vegan egg instead of this?
I don't really like coffee and that.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's as easy for you. It takes no more time for you. But every time you do choose the vegan option, you're not putting them in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with this card because I really appreciate your time. And I didn't change the same plants. Feel pay me. You can have a word with your friends afterwards. If you go to this free movies.
All right.
ETF, type in this code 22veg. Watch something called Dominion.
Yeah.
And really learn what you're paying for, because I think you have a heart and I think you care about animals.
Yeah.
And like strong people protect and weak people oppress. So you can be a strong person, James.
Yeah. Cheers.
No worries. Thank you for your time.
All right, he was all right. Yeah. These three are probably going to be the type who will look back on this and, you know, kind of be embarrassed about what they had to say, and hopefully we'll make some changes. They may, you know, band together to try to deflect. You're like, oh, remember that crazy vegan that was on the street and try to tell us, oh, we were horrible people. What about the plants? God, I remember like saying that one time, like when I was like 14. I remember we were talking about vegetarian and I was like, well, plants are alive. And my friend thought that was brilliant. And I was like, oh, that must be brilliant. And but I mean, I was a kid. I didn't know, y'all. I was stupid. I'm sorry. But I was. All right, let's get to the main event, guys. Tabrizispiracy. All right. Now, before we get started, I want to say this. I gave this 4 days, okay? I wanted to respond immediately, but I wanted to be fair. So I said to Ali, who was responding to a clip that I made of George Martin, I responded to that and said, if you want to have a non-confrontational conversation about this on my channel, I'd love to have you. That was 4 days ago. He hasn't responded to that. So in my opinion, this is fair game now. So that time period elapsed. I let everybody who was responding maturely do so. And now I'm going to troll. And that's all I'm going to do with this video is troll the shit out of Ali Tabrizi. Because you know what? I mean, look, you'll see why. You'll see why. Okay. Let me give you all the background first. So if you don't follow my social media, my Instagram, or George Martin's, then you wouldn't have seen this probably. And even if you did, you might not have seen this. But anyway, I made a clip from our conversation about Ali, and he did respond to it. And we're gonna watch that. We're gonna look at what he said. Okay. I hope this is somewhat productive. I write Ali off. Now I realize that there are some people, Chris Hines included, who seem to be giving Ali a chance, trying to, you know, talk him through it. But look, I hope that's still the case. Anyway, here's the background. Okay, this is from my interview with let me get that off the screen. It says Mel and Steve. Hang on, I gotta find it. No glitch yet. Oh, it's coming. I know that. Huh? No, that's not what I meant to do. Hide. Okay, that fixed it. That fixed it. Okay. Okay, here's the background. I had a conversation with George Martin, who goes by Carnism Debunked, and we discussed Ali Tabrizi briefly. And here's that discussion, I think.
Oh,
But,
sorry, yeah.
But so obviously a smart person, but has not really thought very deeply about this. What do you think of people like Cosmic Skeptic? I know you and Natalie started to talk a little bit about Ali Tabrizi. Natalie Fulton is who we're talking about. Although she was in the process of making her video at that point. But, obviously smart people who come to, let's just be blunt, a pretty dumb conclusion. Like, since you're a pretty articulate guy, I'm having trouble articulating myself this morning. Mel, if you see this, if you're still there, Mel, remember we were talking earlier about how I'm a night person. I did this interview with George the same time that we did ours. And man, I just I realize it's like lunchtime already, but I am not super articulate until it gets like 5 p.m. Not that I'm ever super articulate, but I get better. How do you grapple with that? How do you explain that if you can?
Well, I don't think it's something any articulate person can explain. I think we're all as clueless as each other as to how the hell this happens. How can someone like Alex O'Connor, who's an Oxford graduate and has made all these extremely smart philosophical vids and came to veganism on his own accord because it all made sense to him and there was no logical argument against it, how can someone like that then just use essentially the dumbest arguments one day to I say that maybe quite flippantly. He hasn't said ultimately the dumbest arguments. There are dumber ones. He could have gone with plants feel pain or something like that. With him, it was health. Then with Ali, he's talking about kind of like harm reduction and sort of like certain costs of items. It was all quite strange, and he's making something that's so simple sound very hard ultimately.
Yeah.
I think maybe. Look, with anyone who's an ex-vegan, the point is they were never vegan to begin with, in my opinion. I don't think their heart was truly in it. They just didn't get it. I think they were kind of driven into veganism quite softly. There was something, they found some kind of connection and they just thought, oh yeah, this seems like a cool and logical and consistent thing to do. But they didn't really feel it like we feel it. They didn't really live it like we live it. And I think with a lot of, I'm not saying this is true of Cosmic Skeptic or Ali. I don't think actually this bit I'm about to say is true of either of them. But one.
By the way, what he's about to say, I think, entirely applies to Ali. And I think you'll agree with me.
One of the biggest things that I think I noticed with activist ex-vegans is narcissism. I honestly think that a lot of people, and it's annoying because this actually gives credit to one anti-vegan argument,
Right.
but I believe I believe it is partly true when anti-vegans say something like, oh, vegans just go vegan to feel superior to others. Now, of me and you, that's not true. But of ex-vegans, I think it actually is. I genuinely think there is a small contingent of people who go vegan, who are animal rights activists, who do all the liberations, who go to like outreach demos, who you think, damn, this guy's solid. And the only reason that they went vegan is to say, I want to be part of a minority who's better than everyone else on Earth. What's everyone on Earth doing? They're murdering animals. I'm not. So I'm better than everyone now. And I think that's the reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ali basically admitted to that, in saying that, sort of, as Natalie pointed out in her video, that he was sort of extrapolating from his experience and putting it onto all the other animal rights activists this feeling of moral superiority,
Right.
which I obviously.
That's a great point, Jeremy. God, that guy's smart. I mean, he's not super articulate, but I get what he's trying to say. I get it, and that was a great point. Well said, Jeremy. Well said.
Believe that it is morally superior to not consume animals. That, however, that doesn't mean that I believe that I'm morally superior to another person. You know,
But you might be morally superior to Ali Tabrizi
in every respect. Yeah, it's sort of a head scratcher. I've been lucky. I've been vegan 7 years and been in the movement as long. I'm lucky that I have not known someone to go ex-vegan after being an activist, because it would explode my brain. Honest, I just wouldn't know even what to say to that person. And someone like Ali, who's made a great documentary, which I will still recommend. I mean, it's a great film, and it's just odd now that you would recommend a film now to someone and they may deep dive into it and find, oh, this the creator actually went ex-vegan. You know, it's not great.
It's not, is it? And the thing is that Ali's got a platform as the director of Seaspiracy, and now he's putting out this dangerous idea to people that it kind of doesn't matter if you're vegan or not. And what's crazier is he actually says in the video, I've been putting out a dangerous idea. I feel guilty that I've been spreading a dangerous idea. And he's talking about actually being vegan and how being vegan is better than not being vegan.
Yeah.
So he's completely assigned the the dangerous idea to the wrong idea. The dangerous idea, Ali, is the one you're spreading right now, not the one that you were spreading. How are we going to create, how are animals ever going to be free? How are we going to live in a world without animal exploitation if we just have people with a platform like yourself saying, yeah, there's no point in buying this if it costs a little more than this, just buy this, and essentially playing into that stupid privilege argument that we get from non-vegans all the time, as if you have to buy a pack of marshmallows anyway. You could just go with, you can make your own marshmallows at home. You could just not have marshmallows. I mean, right, God. I mean, you and I both know, Jeremy, vegans living in developing third world countries who don't have any of these things. They don't have a vegan marshmallows. A lot of people don't even know what a marshmallow is, let alone a vegan marshmallow. There's people,
right.
Probably most countries in the world is like, what's a marshmallow? And there's vegans in those countries. So it just absolutely, which is crazy, because that video then just reeks of kind of privilege from Ali, because he's accusing us of being the ones who are looking down on people and being these privileged kind of elites. That's him. I mean, he's acting like this fussy first world princess when there's people out there. There's vegans in Pakistan, the Congo. There's vegans in Ukraine, which is getting bombed the shit out of at the moment. There's vegans in Palestine, which is getting bombed the shit out of at the moment. So how come he's talking about marshmallows and then us saying, I mean, it's mind blowing.
Well, and not only that, but in his story, which, by the way, there's just so many ways to poke holes in his dumb story about having to drive 30 minutes to go get some marshmallows. For one, he had access to the vegan marshmallows. He was 30 minutes away from a vegan marshmallow. He went and got them. Now, had he just planned in advance and said, you know what, like, I'm going to be doing some camping, might as well stock up on some vegan marshmallows. They're not right near me. So I do that all the time. Like for instance, and talk about first world stuff. I know that's how this is going to sound, but I really like the Reese's plant-based cups, but they only sell them at a Target. I don't like going into Target. So when I go into Target, I buy up all the Reese's.
Right.
I got like 8 bags.
So you don't have to return. Nice. Yeah, good idea. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with liking being in the first world and being aware of that privilege we have. It's great. We are privileged to be in the first world. We absolutely are. But it's how you go about that privilege. I acknowledge that privilege, and Therefore, I know that I sound like a diva if I'm going to say, oh, woe is me. I had to go out of my way to get the vegan marshmallows. What's the point in veganism?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I haven't structured this interview very well. Okay, anyway. So there was that. All right, so I made, a little clip. 2 Jeremys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, give that guy the Jeremy bump. If you guys haven't given that guy the Jeremy bump and subscribe to the channel, please do. I'm trying to grow the channel, Need to grow it. Needs to be bigger. I know size isn't everything, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Which is why I may now switch from these miniature vegan dandy marshmallows to the regular size. What an expert in segues I am, right? How good am I? Not very good. I know. Not very good. Anyway, I made this point earlier, but I bought 2 bags of vegan marshmallows, and they cost me less than $10. Well, maybe after tax is a little over $10 for 2 bags. Mary, you better subscribe. Look at this thing. That's a vegan marshmallow. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was tough. I had to go ask them where were the vegan marshmallows. It was a lot. It was a lot of struggle for me. Okay, so anyway, that's the interview. Go check it out if you haven't. We talk about a lot of interesting stuff. I'll link it. There it is. Self-promotion. This is just like self-promotion from hell. But that's great, right? It's okay. All right. So now you come over here on my Instagram. All right. All right. So I've made this clip, which I do with all my videos to make a clip so that people can, know that I've done an interview. The most work that I have to do is making these clips. Okay. All right. It's just on a loop right now. I'm probably getting tons of views by just like having this up. That's probably what you should do. Anyway, let me turn the sound on here and then you'll watch this. Okay. Okay, so here's the clip, right?
Ali's got a platform as the director of Seaspiracy, and now he's putting out this dangerous idea that it kind of doesn't matter if you're vegan or not. How are we going to live in a world without animal exploitation if we just have people with a platform like yourself saying, yeah, there's no point in buying this if it costs a little more than this, just buy this, and essentially playing into that stupid privilege argument that we get from non-vegans all the time, as if you have to buy a pack of marshmallows anyway. You could just you could make your own marshmallows at home. You could just not have marshmallows.
Imagine that.
Right, God. I mean, you and I both know, Jeremy, vegans living in developing third world countries who don't have any of these things. They don't have a vegan marshmallow. So a lot of people don't even know what a marshmallow is, let alone a vegan marshmallow. There's probably most countries in the world is like, what's a marshmallow? And there's vegans in those countries. So that video then just reeks of kind of privilege from Ali, because he's accusing us of being the ones who are looking down on people and being these privileged kind of elites. That's him. I mean, he's acting like this fussy first world princess.
All right. So there's the clip. We put it on social media. George shares it as well. And Ali saw it, which is great. And here's Soytheist. Y'all remember Soytheist? Some of y'all will remember Soytheist. He's a animal activist out of India who makes great videos. Haven't seen him in a while, and it was really good to see him on this video. Yeah, so I miss Soytheist because he makes great videos calling out BS. And let's take a look at this. I've never seen a marshmallow in real life. I'm 25 years old. When I was a kid, I saw it on Doraemon, and asked my parents to buy some for me. They told me it was probably a fictitious thing that only exists in cartoons. It's not a matter of lack of education either. Both my parents are highly educated. Mom's a doctor. Father was. He passed away, an engineer. All right. And here's our boy, Marshmallow Man himself. Marshmallow Boy.
Marshmallow boy. Okay. All right. Here's what I got planned, y'all. We're going to bring up the music. Yeah. Where's Soy Theist? What's up, George Martin? Thanks for joining. Man, this is a great stream. Such an honor. We've got Kane Defends Animals showed up. Awesome activist. We got Felix, awesome activist. We've got George, awesome activist. Mel and Steve joined. Mel was here. Damn. And then we got all these heroes, Steven, Mary. So anyway, this is a fun stream. So, okay. So if I were to pull up the silly music, which we're going to use to read Allie's response here, I'm going to have to do it through my phone, because if I switch, then it's going to, it's not going to work. I'm also going to set my, stop my camera. Now you guys can see that, right? Hang on, let me change the, yeah. Let me get the right view. Wait, that's not good. How about that one? That's good. That's good. Y'all can see. Hang on. I'm going to change the name. Edit name. It's going to be Allie now. All right. Because we're going to read Allie. Okay. Okay. Stupid music. No copyright. I'll bring it up. And then we're going to do our best, right, to recreate Allie's voice. Okay. Oh, this doesn't pull up the playlist like I wanted. Hang on, hang on, hang on. We'll find it. We'll find it. Maybe silly music? I don't know. Silly music? Okay. My point being, we're taking this as seriously as possible. All right. Hang on. Play. Damn it. With the Cologuard test, you can just colon cancer for $0. I'm Stay Puffed. Did y'all like my thumbnail? I'm so proud of it. I mean, I didn't make it, but I'm proud. I found Domino's specialty chicken. Domino's. All right, listen. Okay, here we go. Y'all hear it? Y'all hear it good? Okay. Okay. How's that? All right. Like I said, now we're going to try Allie's voice. Now, I recognize that I'm not going to be able to get it exactly right, but I think you guys will agree that this is pretty close to what he was going for. Oh, boy. You know, not a single vegan has reached out to me to chat about my video or my arguments, but have rushed to do responses. And it honestly feels quite cult-like. And how intent people have been on strawmanning my arguments without asking any clarity from me. By the way, before I continue, this does sound a little bit like his boy Peterson, right? What's his name? Jordan Peterson. It's a little bit Jordan Peterson-y. Strawmanning my arguments without asking any clarity from me. Not just you, George, but dozens and dozens of people I consider friends saying strange and at times awful things. There's no E in awful, by the way, Allie. So I just wanted to jump in while I had 5 minutes, by the way. You'll see throughout this conversation that Allie only had 5 minutes to respond. So it's pretty impressive that he was able to do it for several hours. It was never about trivial marshmallows. People watching the video with honesty will know the marshmallows are a case study of a broader thesis. By the way, if you're calling going non-vegan a thesis, yeah, you're a narcissist. Yeah, you're not an intellectual, Allie. I hope that you realize that when you've made these arguments, you're trying to come across as an intellectual. You are not. This wasn't a thesis, okay? And if you want to go ahead and call this a thesis, okay, we'll grant you this thesis. Okay, it's dumb as shit. It's dumb as shit, Allie. I'm sorry. Your thesis, dumb as shit. So yeah, it was about trivial marshmallows, Allie. You made the argument, and that's why we're mocking you for it. By the way, this whole thing about the cult, remember? He said it feels very cult-like that everybody's making these responses. How, like, we called it, right? Like Natalie in her response, like all these anti-vegan tropes come out, right? It's a cult. It's a cult. Now let me go through the Rolodex and find all the arguments against veganism. Oh, it's a cult. It's a cult. Give me a break, Allie. Kane, come on now. Kane is always bashing me for my impressions. I don't appreciate that, Kane. It was never, this is perfect. This is his voice. This is Allie. It was never about trivia. Okay, let me try. Let me try to make Kane happy. It was never about trivial marshmallow. What do you want, Kane? What do you want from me? It was never about trivial marshmallows. People watching the video with honesty will know this. The marshmallows are a case study of a broader thesis. I still haven't eaten any regular marshmallows, and I went the first 10 years not buying any marshmallows. So I think I would have worked out the IQ of 180 genius recommendations of just don't buy them. My entire point is that just because something is vegan doesn't mean it's the best thing for the animals. Oh, God. Where do we go? This is so long, by the way, guys. He had 5 minutes. Remember that. He had 5 minutes to do this, so this is impressive. How's the music? Is it good? Can you hear it? If people say to just not buy vegan marshmallows, they are actually agreeing with my entire point. No, Allie. No, they're not agreeing with your point. What they're doing, Allie, is they're saying, okay, just like George said, if you want to be a fussy little princess about things and it's too much of a hardship for you to go get some marshmallows, just don't buy the marshmallows. They're not agreeing with you. They're saying if you're too much of a weak little bitch to go get the marshmallows, then don't get them or get something else. That's what they're agreeing with. That's what they're agreeing with. You're not a deep thinker, Allie. Yeah, we should not have given this guy a platform. We should have vetted. We should have vetted it. Especially when you consider opportunity cost. If people say to just not buy vegan marshmallows, they are actually agreeing with my entire point. And there is only so many products you can fall back on with the reply, well, just don't eat it then, or make them yourself before that list gets very long and unrealistic. Oh, Allie, so you mean the list of products that you consumed, according to you, for 13 years? That was a excessively small list of products, right? Because you just couldn't do it. This guy claims he was vegan for 13 years, and now he's making the argument that if you say just don't buy the marshmallows, because he had to have marshmallows for his stupid camping trip, that you just whittle down the list of products to such an extreme degree that you've got like nothing left. What a clown. Oh my God. So here he's probably on like minute 2 of the 5 minutes that he's able to devote to this. And this silly notion that because I have a large platform with Seaspiracy and my own Instagram that this is all very dangerous. Have you seen me bash the idea of not eating animals on either of my social media accounts? So what is this hypothetical notion that there's this big danger here? The only danger I would imagine you're talking about is this idea that I'm discussing in a single YouTube video, that there are some very real limitations and false promises of being 100% vegan 100% of the time. Which is something I don't have a problem with discussing. I invited you on my channel, Allie. Come discuss it. My food choices are not subservient to a theoretical idealism when it comes to veganism. At some point, it needs to touch down into reality. My food choices take into account a whole range of factors, including the realities of whether it's actually doing any good. And I still believe that for the majority of the foods we eat as vegans, if you plot it out on a bell curve, the majority of that food is markedly better for both animals and the environment. Oh, this is tough. But I have to do it. I have to capture what Ali was going for. I have to do the voice. And usually our health. But it's when it comes to the fringes of those foods that we eat on the bell curve that I'm not so sure I can stand behind those claims. There seems to be this moral panic amongst the vegan online world that I'm somehow talking about something dangerous. Yeah, Ali, I've seen Ryan do a response to you. I've seen Natalie do a response to you. I've seen Cheap Lazy Vegan do a response to you. I've seen Vegan Gays do a response to you. None of them seemed very panicked. And what we did was kind of dissect your arguments and just kind of make a mockery of them, as I'm doing now. Granted, Natalie, Elle, Ryan, they all were much more mature than I'm being, I recognize. But yeah, I don't think there was panic. We've seen this before, Ali. Okay, where were we? Is this voice working for y'all? Is it painful? Can't hear the music. What? Oh, yeah, the Marshmallow final boss, right? Okay, here's the music. Wait, no, that's not where we're at. I've seen numerous comments from vegans saying, well, I do occasionally eat some meat and eggs now and then, but this guy, Ali, is an absolute jerk. So Ali's claiming that he's seen numerous comments from vegans saying, well, I do occasionally eat some meat and eggs. Apparently, Ali doesn't know what a vegan is. Yeah, okay. After 13 years, he didn't figure it out. So yeah, that would not be a vegan. And I realize you put it in quotes. But yeah, no, they aren't vegans if they say that, Ali. Hang on. Okay. It's really incredible to see this play out. And so far, no one is actually addressing my argument properly, but rather there has been a frenzy of the narcissism, if small differences. If people disagree with taking a more consequentialist approach to the ethics of what we eat, then fair enough. We can discuss those nuances. But so far, I've not heard anyone really walk down that road with me and prove my position is flawed. There seemed to be this reactionary thrill at misinterpreting my entire 50-minute video to get a dopamine hit from acting like they're more or less superior. Whew. God, it's hard to be Ali. It is hard to do that voice all the time. It is tough. I feel for him. Okay, so let me dissect this comment a little bit. So, Ali, if you're going to make a 50-minute video, which, by the way, like, if anything tells you like you're making a dumb mistake more than you felt like you had to make a 50-minute video to respond to it. And by the way, we're probably at minute 3 right now, the 5 minutes that he had to respond to this. That should tell you a lot right there. If you have to spend 50 minutes explaining your dumb decision, you probably made a dumb decision. Right, Ali? I will also throw in that I know very well-known people in the vegan scene who are adored and admired for their work, and who in secret are eating and buying animal products. Okay, name them, because I would really like to know who those people are. That would be great information to know, Ali. Yeah, go ahead and tell us who are the well-known people in the vegan scene who are admired and adored that are secretly eating and buying animal products. Yeah, okay. I mean, George is actually someone who's done a pretty good job calling some of those people out. They are very few and far between, but there have been a few. Yeah, if y'all want to see some of that on George's channel, go over to Carnism Debunked. Check it out. But I will leave it up to them to come forward if they wish. I, on the other hand, made a public, transparent video explaining my changing attitude to pure veganism. If people have a problem, I really don't mind. Yeah, you sure don't seem to mind. I will agree. You sure don't seem to mind, Allie. Oh, wait. If you spend hours responding to somebody online, does that indicate you don't mind, or does it indicate maybe you're feeling a little defensive, maybe a little triggered? Do you think animal products, I'm just curious, do you think animal products, like a side effect of eating animal products, is thin skin? Allie? Anyway. I've not replied to any of the hateful comments because it genuinely has not affected me. It's been fairly entertaining. I hope I'm entertaining you, Allie. I'm putting a lot of work in. This is my first time replying to anyone publicly because I happen to have 5 minutes. 5 minutes, yeah. And you and I, George, have discussed things a lot over the years. So I will note he's responding to George. Obviously, it's George's words. So anyway, at this point, you know, I saw that Allie was responding to all this stuff, but he's responding to George. So for about a day, I was just like, I'll let them hash it out. Here's this guy, Sianu. 50-minute vid followed by paragraphs and paragraphs, and now you're out here pointing at other vegans who eat meat behind closed doors as if that has any relevance. Okay, so there's other people with no backbone who don't stick to their values. And like you, I really don't know if you understand what veganism is. It's anti-speciesism. We treat the fundamental interests of human and non-human animals differently. It's anti-oppression for all. It is not complicated. It doesn't require a 50-minute vid of nuance or 5 paragraphs of nuance. I agree with this comment so much. That is a great comment. One argument is that if we buy items on whatever corner of the bell curve you want to justify, what that does is it normalizes the acts of using blah, blah, blah. You get where I'm coming from. So, by the way, you can see that there are vegans here hashing it out with him. And here's Allie Tabrizispiracy. I guess there's no true Scotsman either. Here's Chris Hines, our friend Chris Hines. Now, Chris, valiant effort. He did his best. Okay, is the music? You can't hear the music. Okay, that's fine. We don't really need the music. It's just to set a tone. Okay. So Chris, an amazing activist, by the way, is going to attempt to reason with Allie. Hey man, hope you and the family are well. Tried to DM you, but appears your account won't accept new message requests currently, so thought I'd ask here. I'm sure you're going to cover this a lot of bits in your comment discussion between you and George. But one thing that did concern me about your video was near the end, you condoning recreational fishing. This to me seemed very strange, as you didn't consider at all the life of those fish. This seems like a dangerous message to put out and a lot different to the nuances of backyard eggs, oyster sentience, etc. Obviously, you know very well that fish are sentient beings. Yeah, you did direct Seaspiracy, didn't you? So kind of interested in why you would say that. Feel free to DM me yourself if you'd rather chat there. Now, by the way, I haven't talked to Chris about, whether or not he's got some DMs going. It's possible that Allie is discussing things with people. I don't know. I have not discussed this with people. I'm just going based on this. In any case, normalizes? I disagree. It's already normalized. Now, I'll give him credit. That's a decent point. It is already normalized, and part of the reason is because people do it like you're doing it. My view is that if you're someone who is reducing your overall consumption in this very not-vegan world, you're doing heaps to try and push the needle and normalize not eating so much animal products. If someone is vegan, except for a few small things, I think we should focus on the big picture. Saying a person is normalizing using animal products for eating some gummy bears in a world where it is and has been a normal thing for it is not looking at this objectively. I hope you all appreciate how hard I'm trying to accurately convey Allie's voice. Here he responds to Chris. Hi, mate. To clarify, in my video, I said that although I don't eat them, you can make a good argument for eating oysters. Farming them. I don't know why he became Southern, guys, but he did. This is Allie speaking. Allie's channeling himself through me. I don't know why his voice changes from time to time. You'll have to ask him that. You'll have to ask him. Farming them is great for the ocean, and sentience is very difficult to prove. Additionally, whatever potential sentience you could argue for would be nullified the moment a single insect is killed in cultivating a fruit or vegetable. Now, we're probably about minute 4.5 of the 5 minutes that he had to respond to this. I then said, wait, let me back up. Additionally, whatever potential sentience you could argue for would be nullified the moment a single insect is killed in cultivating a fruit or vegetable. Oh, so now he's making the crop deaths. Gotcha. He's on that part of the Rolodex. I then said, if you really push me, I would concede that there are some forms of recreational fishing which are sustainable. I didn't say that the animal didn't suffer. It was also sort of brought up to suggest that in some instances, eating one small fish like this could be causing less overall suffering than acquiring some vegan option. We also need to remember that cultivating fruit and vegetables on an industrial has required using pig's blood and fish bone fertilizers and for bats, birds, and small mammals to be culled as pest control. So all things considered, yes, sometimes eating one fish can cause less killing than other items. Let me catch up. Mobius didn't even realize it was me. Wow, that's how good I'm doing. Okay, hang on. Let me catch up with the comments. Mary's reconsidering. God, side effect of doing this video. Mary's reconsidering. Jeremy, last time you walked across an aisle with no vegan marshmallows and only non-vegan marshmallows, did you hear boss music coming on? I did. It sounded like this. Y'all hear it? Okay. That was the boss music. Okay. I feel bad for George. He's actually only listening to this. I'm sorry, George. I don't know. But it's hard to do Allie's voice accurately the way that I'm doing it. All right, Chris responded, but I'm sure you would agree. Eating a human would also cause less suffering. We will certainly kill far more animals over our lifetime than any vegan product or non-vegan. And so it would greatly benefit both the animals and the environment to eat humans. We would never do this or even bring this up as an option, though. So I'm not sure why implying this for a fish or any other animal would be acceptable. That would be a speciesist view to hold, no? Whether only talking about it from a sustainability point of view or not, it's presenting a justification for the action to take place. It seems you're looking at things from a more utilitarian viewpoint and only focusing on harm reduction, whereas veganism is more of a deontological view. We apply a principle to not exploit and abuse animals, and our practices follow from this. Deaths caused by crops are only generally done to protect our food source, and this is something we would enforce whether it was animals or humans. If a mob of people were destroying our food and we couldn't make them leave, it would also be justified to use lethal force if necessary to make sure the world doesn't starve. And while we would both agree there is work to be done in ensuring crop production is done as ethically as possible, These deaths certainly don't justify us purposefully taking the life of another in another context. I guess a good analogy is the ethics of killing someone to defend your home or just going out and randomly killing someone. Apparently, Ali has not encountered the crop deaths, though, argument. In 13 years of being vegan, he has never grappled with that. The existence of the first doesn't justify the second, right? So while I can agree that, yes, there are ways we can kill less, it doesn't follow that the actions to achieve this are therefore ethical to do so. The logical ends to this line of thinking can lead down some worrying paths. That all makes sense? All right, I'm about to okay, here's where Ali admits that he was never vegan. I am speciesist. Okay, there it is. I am speciesist. Ali Tabrizi admits he was never vegan. He always viewed humans above animals. And there you go. So, I mean, while you can make some certain arguments that you may have personal preference of humans over others, there's no moral difference. Like, okay, how do I explain this to Ali? So it's like, yes, I may have a preference if I had the chance to save my mother over a dog or another person, right? I have a preference to save my mother, right? Because she's close to me. That still doesn't make her morally superior or have moral weight than another, right? So just because I would save my mother if I had the chance to save one over the other, that doesn't mean that she's more morally superior or has moral weight than the other person or the other animal. So I don't know why you didn't get this in 13 years, Ali, but apparently you didn't. And so you were never vegan. You didn't understand this. And the reason why it's frustrating to see that someone who's now attempting to look like an intellectual and hasn't really like gathered this basic information about the thing he claimed to be for 13 years, and why it is that, you know, people have made response videos as if that's shocking news to someone who was in the vegan movement for a while, that, yeah, if you turn your back on the animals, people are going to make response videos about it. Wow, imagine that. I would have never expected that. I would have never expected people who stand up for animals for a living or in their free time to do so when it comes to you, Ali. I didn't know that you were immune to that. But, you know, anyway, to me, that's the kicker. You know, you admit you're a speciesist. Okay. You know, you could have just said that and not put out a 50-minute video, you know, and wasted a lot of people's time. And this goes on, by the way, guys. We're probably at 4 minutes, 59 seconds of the 5 minutes that he repeatedly told us he had to ensure us that he's a busy guy. And he just, you know, the reason why he hasn't engaged with this because he's a busy guy, y'all. He didn't have time. So he's dipping in. You know how busy and important Ali is. Oh, he's doing big things, you know, with his channel and everything. So, you know, it's a busy life for him. You know, it's tough, you know, driving out 30 minutes to get some vegan marshmallows, taking your kids camping, you know, it's just a hard life. You had 5 minutes. So just want to make that clear. I am speciesist. I do hold the lives of human beings above other animals. So maybe that needs to be clear. Well, it's clear now. And so in the context of what we eat, if it is to reduce the suffering of non-human animals, I stand by the idea that in this hypothetical, the fish causes less suffering overall than eating many other things. God, I never knew he sounded this way. But when I do his voice, that's what comes out. So if hypothetically the option was to buy a vegan protein source that I knew had a much wider and destructive impact on animals / planet, plus the opportunity, cost, etc. My God, this long-winded shit. I swear. Guys, just a word of advice. If you have to spend this amount of time arguing your points in comment sections, Jesus, like it's too much, y'all. or to eat an equivalent, especially if you only got 5 minutes, or to eat an equivalent amount of a common small fish species from an area they aren't being targeted. In that circumstance, and it's a bizarre, unrealistic example, I would still say eating the fish would probably be the more ethical option. Whether I would actually eat it, that's another question, you see. I don't have any desire to eat fish, but just in terms of weighing, where do we go? The scales of harm. That's what I think and feel I'm being consistent. When you say veganism is deontological, says who? Who is the objective arbiter of that veganism should be deontological? This is probably closer. Oh, God, it's starting to hurt my throat, guys. It's starting to hurt my throat. This is probably closer to the heart of the disagreement. I think I used to take a more deontological approach in the past. Now that has changed. But this is where it gets a bit meta. Oh, God. Don't get a bit meta with us, Allie. Please don't. You're getting a lot meta already. In the more secular arena that we are discussing this, no one can claim that either a deontological or utilitarian approach is objectively best. Objective morality is not something a completely secular paradigm can really land on. So it then became a quote, I prefer kind of thing when it comes to this nuanced approach to animal ethics. Okay. It's tough being Ali Tabrizi. Jesus. Let me catch up on the comments. Yeah. Ali sucks. Oh, God. I just need a rest. It's really hard to be Ali. Okay. Ali, I feel for you, buddy. I feel for you. To think these thoughts and to have to live with them. Okay, we're probably in minute 4:59 and 0.8 seconds of the 5 minutes that he had. We're still going. Chris Hines says, if you take a look at writings of the founders of veganism, you can see it's very much rooted in deontological thought. It was defined as a principle that looked to end the exploitation of animals, and it was seen as a moral duty. It was never about better welfare. God, he's trying. Chris is trying. It was more people such as Peter Singer that brought in the utilitarian side of things. Going back to the example you gave above, though, it's worth noting that this doesn't actually achieve the goal you intend anyways. Choosing to kill some fish to avoid a vegan product you feel does more harm would only add to numbers, not reduce them. The current state of our food system means that regardless what we do, the other is still continuing. We're all aware that being vegan currently, in most cases, is barely, not at all, affecting the alternative due to numerous factors, subsidies, etc., etc. I actually disagree with Chris about this. I think it has a big impact, but that's okay. That's all right. Killing those fish isn't saving any animals. Our main choice really is to decide with what we feel achieves our goals moving forward. Let's look at the options. Animal farming, we support this. The animal holocaust continues indefinitely. Hurting, killing the fish, this only adds to them. By the way, Jesus, this is what you have to do if you say, I'm leaving veganism. You have to get into all these like complicated, like fringe arguments, just like, y'all, like, let me just skip through this here because it's a lot. Let me just, here's George responding. Wait, let me go back. Let me be thorough. Okay. Hunting kills the fish. This only adds to the numbers, and if adopted globally, would mean the rapid extinction of all wild animals. A world surviving purely on hunting would be a disaster. Crops, we know this can be improved. We know it can be scaled, and it only looks to violate the rights of others for protection. So what's better? Killing some fish because a vegan product may cause more suffering, which is bullshit, by the way, and just adding the numbers killed already, or letting the fish live and support the vegan product to work towards the ultimate goal. Supporting vegan products will have an effect long-term on market share and make plant-based eating easier, meaning more people likely to become vegan. While I understand your line of thinking, I do not. I mean, I understand it to be really stupid, but no, it doesn't make much sense. It's, as Mel put it to the person she was doing advocacy to earlier, is it's verbal diarrhea is what it is, Allie. Well, I understand your line of thinking. I just feel you're on the wrong path. Advocate for better crop practices, lower impact plant-based options, and things that work towards where we want to be. If you find a vegan product that you feel is doing too much harm, then advocate a swap to another that isn't causing as much. Seems pretty logical and rational thinking from Chris Hines here. Killing or exploiting animals shouldn't be seen as a solution to this issue. And just to break down again, Allie's thesis. Yeah, okay. About, yeah, we give him way too much credit, allowing that to be called a thesis. But yeah, okay. Let's just grant that he thinks that the marshmallow cost was worse for the animals than buying the gelatin-based marshmallow. Again, Allie, what would be even better would be not buying either of them, right? Wouldn't that be better to avoid entirely? Maybe, as Ryan pointed out, you could get some bananas or something. You know, imagine that, having to go camping and eat some bananas. Wow, that would be rough. I mean, you know, I realize that's a big stretch for you. I realize it. Or you could do what I suggested. Next time you're near the vegan marshmallows, get a whole bunch of them or whatever. And if they're too expensive, don't buy them. It's pretty fucking simple, Allie. Okay. So here's George. George responded. Not much I need to say, as Chris Hines official has articulated everything I needed to say and so much better than I could. That said, even if you're a utilitarian, you can still do veganism, but in a utilitarian way. I will say, though, it does seem your passion for animal rights has waned of late, as all your recent content just appears to be human-centric, albeit interesting stuff, where you're just sitting down with random non-vegans. When this happens, it's often a red flag, and I feel some kind of spark within you has gone, hence you have fallen off the wagon. I really hope you reconsider this decision and hope you see this as one big mistake. A vegan world where we reject the commodification status of animals is what you want, no? By the way, there's a kitty cat on my screen. Just wanted to point that out. This comment was pretty funny. We all know you did a cosmic skeptic move. This is Aaron I. I don't know. You being vegan was too intimidating for the people you want to be able to have your pseudo-intellectual conversations with, so they would or will reject engaging with you because they know they could not argument against animal exploitation. So instead, you cucked yourself, hoping to be able to sit down with your idols and be invited to the table. Know that you're not a vegan anymore. Such a grifting move, and we all know that's the reason. You just want to grow your podcast and your brand. Amazing intellectual honesty. Based comment, by the way. And Ali responded to that. This is hilarious. Thanks for that. Yeah. And here, Aaron said, I made this formal argument against your position, so feel free to address which premise you reject. Part 1 of 2. Is it compatible with veganism to consume small amounts of animal ingredients or dumpster dives animal products for practical reasons? Part 1, if we assume. So let me just not make this too long. So I'm going to skip through all that, okay? Because I think he stops responding here. Excuse me, my throat is killing me now. Oh, you got me. Allie got me. Damn it. Fuck, you win, Allie. Got my throat hurting. All right, this person, by the way, says, that is a lie. I reached out to you. I emailed you and left comments on your YouTube video. I offered to buy you a year's worth of vegan marshmallows to get you started back on the road to veganism again. So yeah, this is in response to Ali saying, no vegans have reached out to me, which is obviously nonsensical. Yes, they did. And you could have just looked on your own video to see that they did, in fact, comment on your video, which I don't know if you count that as reaching out, but obviously people have done more than that, including emailing you, according to this person. But, you know, don't get butthurt if you are too busy, as you say, to respond to your messages. Now, that would be understandable, but don't go and claim, Ali, that nobody reached out to you when they clearly did. And here's me 5 days ago. I am Ali Tabrizi, more than happy to have a civil discussion about it on my channel. And crickets from you, Ali. Now, fair. Okay, you don't have to come on here. Whatever. Yeah, it's a small channel, but don't claim that nobody's reaching out to you when we make you offers like this to have a civil discussion on it. Now I realize I'm mocking the fuck out of you right now. We're probably never going to have a civil discussion. Again, I've written you off, Ali. Like other people, Chris, George, they might, want to engage in something a little more mature. Yeah, you're welcome to come on the channel, but I am not going to I am not going to stop mocking you for this shit. Sounds like a long-winded way of saying you're selfish and don't care. Based, Rebecca. Fiddlesticks commented something about Israeli-made vegan. I have no idea what that's about. Okay. Don't know about that. Love this new format. He does respond some more. Exactly. Just don't have the marshmallows. Not everything needs to be substituted. And Ali again thought that was brilliant because you agree that just because something is vegan doesn't mean it's always good for animals. Well done. You just agreed with my entire video and thesis. Now, this was probably, I don't know what minute of the 5 minutes he had to respond this was, but maybe about the 4-minute mark when he responded to this one. Yeah. So, right. Okay. So again, Ali, no, they don't agree with you. They're just saying, again, if you want to be a little butthurt little princess that you had to drive 30 minutes to go and get some marshmallows that you didn't have to get, you could have just not gotten them. And that would have been very, very simple to do. Just don't do it. Now, I don't know if, Ali, you're watching this. I will point out that I went and got some Dandy's vegan marshmallows today. Now, I understand your pain because I had to ask the cashier, do you all have the vegan marshmallow? I had already circled the store. Oh my God, my feet are hurting. I had to walk all the way around the store to see if they had the vegan marshmallow. I didn't find them. Okay, was that my fault? Definitely not. Definitely not. I almost made the animals pay for my mistake. But luckily, I had this epiphany all of a sudden. Oh, there's someone there that I could ask about the marshmallows. She took me right to them. They cost about $4.85. I bought 2 bags. One is the larger vegan marshmallows and one is the smaller vegan marshmallows. So I understand is what I'm saying. It was really tough. It was really hard to be vegan in that scenario, Ali. So embarrassing for him to bail on veganism for gelatin-filled slop. Totally ruined his legacy. Agree. 12 years in and the excuse is marshmallows, though. Amazing. Bryce, I don't remember the last time I ate a marshmallow or even thought about them, nor are marshmallows necessary for camping. Yep. Rebecca says weaponized incompetence is a form of passive-aggressive behavior where an individual deliberately performs tasks poorly or pretends to be incapable of completing certain tasks. Ciano said, well said, talking to George, which I agree. Well said, George. And here's Ali. Let me guess. You've not watched it. And this is probably 3 minutes into his 5 minutes that he had to respond to this video. Yeah, remember now, he had 5 minutes. He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy. Let me guess. You've not watched my full 50-minute original video I posted and are going off secondhand reactions. What happened to critical thinking? I agree, Ali. What happened to critical thinking? Do you ever ask yourself that question? So, Cianu said, I absolutely did watch the full video. Did you watch Natalie Fulton's at Natty Fulton's response vid, at Mike the Vegan response vid? Did you, Ali? Because, you could have responded to those videos or reached out to them and said, hey, let's hash this out. I've got a podcast. Sounds like you didn't do that. This I am Ali Tabrizi bloke is the living embodiment of the privileged vegan stereotype that lives in anti-vegans' minds. Thanks for giving anti-vegans even more ammo against other animals. Good fucking job. And to me, that pretty much sums it up. Are there any more? Let's see. Well said, Carnism Debunked. Proud to support you on Patreon. I agree, George. Well said. Calling him a little princess, a little first world princess. All right. Okay. Yeah, well, there it is. Oh, Nilf is here. All right, I'm catching up, y'all. I'm catching up. Okay, I'm going to catch up. Let me stop sharing this. So anyway, if y'all are curious to follow on social media, that's where it was posted. So yeah. Oh, damn. Steven watched this video twice. Okay, let me change the screen. I'm no longer Allie. God, that was rough. It's hard to be Allie, guys. Okay, let me turn off the music. Okay. Edit name. We're going back to Jeremy. Going back to Jeremy. Start the cam. There I am. I'm back, guys. I'm back. All right. I know, that was bad. How you doing, Nilf? Felix is amazed Allie hasn't mentioned his Substack. Indeed. Are we cute vegans, Nilf? You know, he couldn't at Mel and Steve. Mel and Steve, I wonder if you could look into the eyes of the animals as they go to slaughter and say all these silly excuses to their face and then listen to them beg for their life. Yeah. Well, obviously that would require a bit of honesty on his part and a little less of the faux intellectualism that he brings. Guys, I've got vegan marshmallows here. I've also got my vegan gaze mug. Mel and Steve is here. At least Mel is. Steve, where are you at? No, I'm just kidding. So Mel is here. Y'all subscribe to Mel and Steve, subscribe to Vegan Gaze, subscribe to Carnism Debunked, all these people. Make sure you do that. I know all of you probably are, but Natalie Fulton, by the way, who we reacted to, her reaction video, we reacted to that. Natalie Fulton is based. Yeah. So anyway, Allie, I'll close with this. I have a thesis. Now, I feel like if you are honest, you would have known that our reactions to your Marshmallow story were just part of a broader thesis that you're a douchebag. If you were honest, you would have come to that conclusion. But of course, you just picked out our reaction as though that was all it was about. No, it's about you're a douchebag. So I don't know. Allie, you're welcome to come on my channel. You have a much bigger channel, a much bigger platform. So let's see if you'll actually, do that. But, if my channel is too small, I'm sure George Martin would have you on. I'm sure Mel and Steve would talk to you. I'm sure Natalie would talk to you. There are just a number of people that you could have this conversation with that doesn't have to be on my little channel. Now, I thought maybe you'd see me as someone who's easy to talk down, But anyway, the offer still stands. It's right there on my Instagram video. I asked you. Come on anytime. And if you do, I won't even put a marshmallow thumbnail. I won't do it. I'll be respectful is what I'm saying, even though I don't think you are deserving of much respect, since you don't have much respect for animals or your fellow vegans. And by the way, I've learned also from you, and I make this mistake sometimes when someone goes non-vegan, after claiming to be vegan for a while, I always make the mistake of getting it wrong who the victim is. I do this all the time. I always think that the victims are the animals, but I'm wrong. It's not the animals. It's you. You're the victim, right? Because all those mean vegans made videos about your dumbass marshmallow story. Right. Yeah. you're the victim. I forgot, Allie. It's you that's the victim, not the animals. And this cult that you left. Oh, yeah, the cult. They just turned on you, right? People that you liked. They made awful comments, right? They did awful videos about you. There's no E in awful, by the way, Allie, you pseudo-intellectual dumbass. The word awe means you like stand in awe of something. The word awful doesn't. Yeah. I realize a lot of people made spelling mistakes in their comments. It's just comments. It's whatever. But they are not like out here pretending to be some kind of fucking intellectual. Yeah. Steven, if I had musical talent of any kind, I'd ask To the Grave to make an It's Hard to Be Allie metal song. Maybe they will. Let's reach out to Dane and ask them to make that song. But guys, let's be careful now. You know, he's sensitive. And he's only got 5 minutes to respond, even though that actually took hours. Yeah, I was watching it. You know, I was like, oh, Allie's responding to the comments. Kept checking Instagram a little while later. Kept responding to the comments hours later. Yeah, but he just wanted to, he wanted us to know how busy he was and how important he was. Check out Vegan. I know. I know they did. Let's watch it. Let's watch. I think I can do it, right? It should be fine. Vegan Beats did it. I saw that. Let's check it out. By the way, Vegan Beats could use some, could use the Jeremy bump. I hope I'm okay to play this, but luckily it's the end of the video, so let me sub to Vegan Beats. Okay, this is good. This is good. Oh, I know what we'll do. We've only reacted to Natalie's video. Let's react to Ryan and Mike the Beat. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, hang on. You're right. We should do that. Presents. Share screen. Ali Tabrizi. No one was more vegan than me, featuring marshmallows and backyard eggs. Hey, did y'all see my title too? I even did the, and you might remember he made his video. He's like, why I've left 100% veganism after 13 years, and you might also after this. Y'all see my shade, right? The title of this video. I'm a little too proud of it. The Ghostbusters. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, okay. Let's rock out to some Vegan Beats.
He said it himself. No one was more vegan than me. Then came the candy and the compromise. Drove across town for a sugar puff, called it too much, said enough's enough. $16 for guilt-free fun, but when it's blood, hey, that's just one. Mock the effort, dodge the choice, but justice never had a cozy voice. He didn't fail, a perfect dream. He sold out truth for whipped up cream. No one was more vegan than me.
This is a banger.
Till ethics cracked under marshmallow glee. Swapped ethics for a cushion of cream. Now the animals scream where silence meets. You don't drop a cause for comfort's kids. You didn't fail veganism. You betrayed what it is.
Y'all, if like I could definitely bump this rolling down the road, just this alley song.
Then came the eggs fresh from the yard. She's rescued, he said that ain't hard. To twist the tail, to sell the charm. But it's still you, still quiet harm. You gave me walls. walls and called it fate. You took my world and named it plate. She ain't your gift, she ain't your farm. Just one more life wrapped in your charm. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being just. You can't repaint oppression as trust. It's not balance if one side dies. It's not kindness. It's just cruelty in a clever disguise. No one was more vegan than me, but marshmallows broke your morality. The price of peace ain't up for debate. It's paid in blood on every plate. So post your reels.
By the way, Mary, I know Mary's new to veganism, and it's good for Mary to see who is the most vegan, because it is a competition. I didn't know we had lost. Yes, it is. There is a ranking board. You know, if you didn't know about the ranking board, Mary, in our cult clubhouse, we have a ranking board. And Ali is at the top of that list, even though he's not, you know, he's not vegan and never was, and is a speciesist. He was still the most vegan on the ranking board. Has anybody given Mary the card, the access code to the clubhouse, the cult? What we call it? Anyway. An enthusiastic Jeremy bump to vegan beats.
If you must, but don't sell ethics as broken trust. The truth is sharp, the wound is deep. You woke us up, then went back to sleep. We're still here, still vegan, still fighting.
I just love that this is actually a good song. I love the industrial kind of sound to it. It's a good song. AI probably made it or something. I have no idea. Okay. Thank you, Vegan Beats. I put the link to it so you guys go follow Felix's lead and give him the bump. Give him the bump. Okay. All right. Happy Healthy Vegan. Let's check that one out. He did a good one about this whole thing. Yeah, it was a good one. Did Mike the Vegan do one too? You know, I is the awkwardness too, is that a lot of these guys, like George has spoken to him over the years, Ryan knew him, like a lot of these people know the guy. I'm in that position where I didn't know Ali. I knew his movie. I like his movie. I think Seaspiracy is a great documentary. Like I said to George, I will still recommend that documentary to people. I just hope that people don't go and look up Ali afterwards. It's a good film. Ali, credit to you. I mean, you put together a great film. I have seen no evidence of this. People have told me that no one has told me they went vegan after watching Seaspiracy, but I've heard people say surely some people went vegan after watching Seaspiracy. If that is the case, Ali, maybe you should give your own film a reviewing, huh? Yeah, maybe watch your film again and maybe you'll go vegan. All right. Share this tab. Is this one being shared? Share this. All right, Ryan, vegan cult leader. It is very cult-like.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, and this is a video I sure didn't see myself having to make any time in my life, but here we are. And yeah, Ali Tabrizi, the director of Seaspiracy, recently put out a video
No.
a parallel art.
Wait. The V card is different. That's something else. Be careful when handing out the V card, Stephen. We have to specify. because the V card can be lost, and once it's lost, it's you don't get it back. Well, with that logic, I wonder if Ali can come back. He lost his V card. Fat. I don't believe anybody uses fat, Steven. That was when I was young. Pretty hot and tempting it stood for. I'm glad we got rid of that one. The V Clan card, yeah.
Article on his Substack about how he's no longer 100% vegan. So in my response here, I'm going to focus mainly on.
Yeah, I like Ali also saying like, oh, y'all didn't watch my self-indulgent 50-minute video or my incredibly lengthy Substack article about why I turned my back on the animals. Like, wow, you guys don't follow me and want to see 50 minutes of someone just falling on their face, trying to make pseudo-intellectual arguments. Imagine that. A lot of people did watch it, though, including the people who did the responses. So, yeah.
On his YouTube video, but I will refer time to time to his Substack article because some of the most damning things he said about vegans and veganism is found there. And as some of you longtime viewers may know, we've known Ali Tabrizi. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he visited with us a few times over the years. Here's some video footage of him meeting with us in 2016.
Always wearing the t-shirts, right? Always with the shirts. Yep, he was more vegan than you and I because of the shirts.
He actually did a little video here in this very room with Angie. And I want to get one thing clear from the very outset here about my response video, why I'm making it. If Ali had just turned vegetarian as he seems to have become now, I mean, he's a free-thinking adult. He has free will. I can't control him. I'm not like some fascist leader of the vegan cult here or anything like that. But if that's all he'd done, I would have been bummed. But
you can catch up, Mary. It's we're on the same topic, basically. We're just considering your V card. That's all. We're considering the card, the V card.
I would have not made a response video like I'm doing here. The only reason why I'm responding to Ali not being vegan anymore is all this crap that he said on the way out. As I'll show you, he used many powerful emotional manipulation techniques, both in his YouTube video and his Substack article. Specifically, emotional appeal through personal struggle, the undermining of ideological opponents, and incremental ethical drifting using relatable anecdotes. And there's big logical problems as well, such as moving goalposts, false equivalence, and nirvana fallacy, just to name a few.
The reason why I'm making this video,
Like, you know, he responds to mine and George's clip. Like, did you respond to Ryan? Did you respond to Natalie? Like, you know, they made like these really great videos, responses. But I guess, oh, I forgot. He didn't have 5 minutes then. He didn't have the 5 minutes then. That's true. What am I saying? I mean, look at this guy. He's so busy and so important.
I actually think as someone who lived and breathed veganism and promoted it to many, many people.
See? And you might too after this.
I think I've been responsible for actually spreading a kind of dangerous lie that I want to rectify in this video.
Are you talking about some fundamental lie that's part of the essence of what veganism is, or are you just projecting the way that you happen to be a vegan activist?
I began to realize, and I'll explain the moment that triggered this, that veganism doesn't actually hold the monopoly to causing the least harm through dietary choices.
So that's the dangerous lie you're talking about that you were spreading? Well, first of all, let's look at the long-standing definition of veganism. It's a stance against animal cruelty and exploitation. The word harm does not appear once in this definition. So therefore, any discussion or comparison or attempt to measure harm done by vegans is irrelevant to what veganism is, because veganism is not a movement to like minimize harm. I call these people harm reductionitarianists, and that's not what veganism is. But what I'm trying to make clear here is we're already seeing his first logical error here. It's a shifting of goalposts away from what the definition.
Mary, you don't have a V card, okay? Let's not kid ourselves here. You don't get it back, okay? Now you might have a vegan card. We're working on that card. Oh, there's the glitch. There it is. There it is. There it is. Oh, I'm so glad it let me get through all the stuff. But there it went. Marshmallow white shirt even then. Why didn't we see the warning? I know, Felix. Pogs. Oh, God. I know. Nobody sympathetic to his argument has contacted him for an interview. Yeah, because who's sympathetic to the dumbassery? Other than the people he's been talking to on his channel lately, right?
Definition of veganism is to other things such as total net harm, and as we'll see later on, financial hardship or feasibility for your average person who's not wealthy. And might I add, none of these shifted goalpost items have anything to do with animal cruelty. They have nothing to do with animal rights. But anyway, let's get back to his story here. He tells the beginnings of his non-vegan story, how this first came to him on a camping trip with his children.
We wanted to bring marshmallows along, of course, for this beautiful family.
Just want to point out also Cheap Lazy Vegan has made a couple of videos now in response to this. They're a bit longer. They're close to 40 minutes in length, and there's a part 1 and a part 2. But just want to shout out that channel as well, Cheap Lazy Vegan.
A memorable moment to roast on the fire. But as a vegan, of course, you have to think about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with Ali. As a vegan, there's certain circumstances where you really have to think about what you're going to eat. If I'm going to, like, say, a baseball game, well, they have vegan stuff there. Some ballparks do, some don't. But I don't say, oh, they don't have vegan stuff there, I'm just going to eat the meat. Well, anyway, yeah, if you knew you're going camping, there's many things you could have done ahead of time. You could have brought your own, like, say, homemade stuff. There's recipes that you could easily make vegan marshmallows from. I also want to point out, too, you don't have to have marshmallows when you go camping. I've had vegan marshmallows.
You're just making his point. Ryan, you're just making my point right now. If you say that you didn't have to have the marshmallows, then you're saying that you have to say that about a lot of different products, and then eventually it gets down to such a small number of products that you can actually eat. It's just undoable. So thanks for making my point. Right.
Marshmallows on some camping trips. Most of them I don't, but that's neither here nor there. That's his decision for him. If he feels like he has.
Poor Ryan is probably like, maybe Ryan is like scrolling around on YouTube and then he sees, oh, there's a live stream. Oh, I see, like I'm on there, and he tunes in with the earlier context, and he just hears me saying that, and he's like, the fuck? What is wrong with that guy? Not real. Well, no, like I should say, he would hear it and he'd be like, wow, that is a like exact replica of the way that Ali sounds. He'll get it. He'll get it. He'll get it.
Has to have marshmallows. Well, here's all the hoops he's complaining about he had to jump through to try to find at the last second, without any prior planning, try to find some vegan marshmallows.
So in order to get vegan marshmallows, me and my family have to drive half an hour into the city to a place we never go, to go to a specialty vegan store to buy vegan marshmallows. And then we obviously have to drive half an hour back. We have to go over a toll bridge this time. That's $5.60 each way. So it's like $11 total, $12 something.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Jeez. Wow, it just sounds like tough to be Ali Tabrizi. Ali Tabrizispiracy.
Way to the full trip, and so it's about an hour's journey. We're already tired parenting all this effort to get vegan marshmallows. And the vegan marshmallows that we got were a very small bag that cost about $16 for about less than 300 grams. $16. On the way home, I'm doing maths in my head. I'm thinking $16.
$4.85. I think it was something like that. Bought 2 of them.
Plus the $11 or so toll bridge, plus the fuel, wear and tear, all the stuff that goes along with owning and running a vehicle. Our time, not only the hour for my wife, but the hour for me, what we could have otherwise done in that time, and the total amount of money that we spent on this whole round trip to get a packet of marshmallows. And I started to think, well, surely if I would have,
and I started to think, that's where you should have stopped, I think, Ali, because thinking seems to be getting you in trouble. For most people, I would say thinking is a good thing. With you, it seems to be like leading you down dark paths.
have just hypothetically bought the animal gelatin marshmallows at the local supermarket for $2.50 without spending all the fuel and toll bridge fees. And all the money I spent, not even if I gave all of it to an animal sanctuary, even if I just gave a couple of dollars that I saved to an animal sanctuary, surely that's going to do more tangible, measurable good.
Yeah, and by that logic, Ali, had you not bought any marshmallows, you'd have had even more money to give to the animal sanctuary. Oh my God, thinking is hard. Ali, dude, some people, they get a microphone, and I'm not describing me right now. They get this microphone, and it makes them feel smarter. Okay, it happens to a lot of people. I worked in radio. I've seen it many times. People get on that microphone and they just feel like a fucking genius. Ali, no, you are not. You are not.
Measure of good in what sense? I thought we were talking about veganism, being against animal cruelty and exploitation. So apparently, your measure of good doesn't involve animal cruelty.
It is kind of RFK. It was probably, honestly, let's face it, like he probably idolizes RFK. So he probably loves it. My RFK sounding, yeah, that does sound a little bit, I will admit. What's up, Alicia? How are you doing? We are roasting marshmallows today.
Cruelty and exploitation. You're obviously measuring good in some other way. Furthermore, he uses this marshmallow story as a foot in the door technique. It's an incremental shift in ethics. It starts with, it's, I guess, okay to get the gelatin animal hoof-based marshmallows. And later on, all right, it ain't so bad to get the backyard hens and eggs.
And just to remind you all, he stated, I am a speciesist in the comments on my video. So, yeah. I mean, am I reading too much into that? That to me was the game. That's the ball game. Yeah, we don't approve of speciesism, right? Like that's a bad thing. As a former vegan, you would think you'd know that speciesism is a bad thing, that you don't want to be. You don't want to do that. You don't want to arbitrarily look down on someone else because, oh, they were born in a different body than me. Whether that body was different genitalia, right? Or different skin color, or maybe they had feathers or fur. This is not complicated. Again, this is the problem when someone gets a microphone and they think they're a fucking intellectual, because a lot of people probably told them, wow, you're good at this. You're good at this, Ali. You can do this. Like, no, stop. Put the microphone away. It's not helping. It's not helping. Yeah.
And just a slippery slope to full-on eating animals in the slow, incremental way.
When it comes to things like gelatin, it's really an afterthought of the animal agriculture industry. It's not the thing that the industry hinges on. It's not the thing that gets most of its profits.
It's a product. They make money on it. That's why they sell it. So saying that the money, it doesn't hinge on that because, oh, if we just got rid of the gelatin, it would still exist. It's money, Ali. They want your money. You know why there's this thing called advertising, Ali? It's because they want your money. So whenever someone's trying to tell you, oh, it doesn't matter, it's the subsidy and all the there's so many reasons to not be vegan. They want your money. They still want your money. And guess what? Gelatin is one of the ways that animal agriculture's industries make money.
It's not
again, not complicated to someone who's not a faux intellectual.
Things justifying the entire industry. It really is a byproduct, as much as vegans like to deny that.
Keyword, okay, once again, I had to say this before. Keyword of byproduct is product. It's a product, Ali. It's a product. Yeah.
like a straw man. I don't know any vegan that says that. We pretty much all know that gelatin's a byproduct of the animal agriculture industry. But more
Again, and I would even push back a little on Ryan on this. A byproduct is still a product. It doesn't matter if you call something a byproduct. That's just a word to like lessen its impact. It's, yeah. Anyway.
more importantly here, let's look at this ethical comparison he's making here. He's trying to make it sound like, it might be the case that these what vegans consider less ethical gelatin-based marshmallows might actually be better or less harmful.
I don't disagree with you, Mobius, actually. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I mean, if only they taught veganism in schools and the kids told their parents, but no, too much money to be lost in the satanic de facto cult in play. Well, we're in the cult. According to Ali, I know you missed it, but his comment feels very cult-like. What's up, Jeremy? Now we got Jeremy squared. All is well. All is well again in the world. So, yeah. It was a good thing, right, that everybody or many people in the first world suddenly had access to things like phones and microphones, and it also opened the door to a lot of dumb ideas getting out. I'm a free speech guy, of course. Everybody has the right to say what they want to say. I'm just saying Ali is probably causing a lot of harm with what he says.
Harmful than the vegan.
And yeah, as Ali said, it could be like a collective panic that someone with a platform is like spreading misinformation. Yeah, it's not panic, Ali, because we've all seen this happen again and again. I also really like the point that Natalie made that was like, okay, like this video where with the brackets that had the parentheses that was like, and you may too after this, implied that we were going to hear something profound. You know, like something that nobody had like come up with yet. Wow. This just like game changer argument. He came up with marshmallows though. And now Ali's going to say that was just part of a broader thesis. But the argument was marshmallows though. That's what it was. Saying that not all the time vegan products are better for the animals does not give you justification to then buy animal products. And that's also granting a lot of your stupid argument. Anyway, let's move along.
Vegan alternatives. But what metrics are you actually using to compare harm between the two products? Do you have anything quantifiable? No. And for all the truthfulness and sincerity that his story may have, again, it's just a story. It lacks absolutely any form of intellectual rigor. There's no quantifiable anything in here. We're just supposed to believe his conclusion that gelatin products are okay based on an emotionally charged, manipulative story.
Very well-known vegan activists who, speak to a mother who's pushing a pram. She might be carrying a baby in one hand. One toddler's running around. She's got a baby in the pram.
All right, so
wait. This is interesting that I didn't catch before. He said it like he's talking about a very specific video. A well-known vegan activist.
Hormone.
Hang on.
An emotionally charged, manipulative story.
Very well-known vegan activists.
Okay, very specific, right? He's talking about someone who he doesn't name.
Who, speak to a mother who's pushing a pram.
And now she might
be carrying a baby. Who, speak to a mother who's pushing a pram. She might be carrying a baby in one hand. One toddler's running around. She's got.
Well, is she carrying a baby in one? It sounds like you're talking about a specific video. So now it sounds like he's generalizing. Yeah. But again, like all of this parsing, right? I'm really glad that Ryan, Natalie, that all these people did this. But this all just boils down to what that person commented. That sounds like a lot. What did they say? It was like someone named Rebecca, I believe, who said that sounds like a lot of paragraphs or minutes or whatever spent to just say, I'm selfish.
a baby in the pram.
All right, so a poor mother taking care of a child, another emotionally laden, manipulative story.
And she said, oh well, I'd love to go vegan. I reduce wherever I can, but I just can't do it because it's just, I find it too difficult. It's too expensive. And she will inevitably be given this slogan from the vegan activist that's been rehearsed 100 times, which is rice and beans. Rice and beans are really, really cheap. Don't you know that all the poorest people in the world eat rice and beans? Why don't you just eat rice and beans? And
Again, we pointed this out with the Natalie video, that it is important as a vegan activist that you rehearse this line, rice and beans, numerous times. Okay, you've got to really rehearse that, because it's hard to think of those two plant products in the moment when you might get flustered because someone might have a baby in one arm and a little toddler running around over here. It's too expensive. Rice and broccoli. Oh shit, rice and fuck. What is it? What is it again? Tofu and fuck. It's hard, is what I'm saying. Rice and beans. You gotta well rehearse that line to get it right. Yeah. Rather than just pointing out that, oh yeah, the vast majority of the foods that people eat across the world are actually quite cheap. Have you ever done your own grocery shopping, Allie? You might have learned that had you gone grocery shopping yourself. He claims he went to buy the vegan marshmallows. I wonder if Allie does his own grocery shopping.
And for me, this is not only patronizing and unrealistic, but it's borderline insulting.
No, what's insulting is how you're misrepresenting how most vegan activists I know why we bring up rice and beans in the first place. It's as a counterpoint to the assertions from these people we're talking to, where they say, oh, vegan food's so expensive. I like to point out some of the least expensive foods you could find in the supermarket are rice, beans, and starches. But nowhere are we saying that's all you're allowed to eat.
Almost every instance I can think of a kind of career vegan activist that I know of does not live on rice and beans.
It'd be helpful if you could be more specific here, and that's a huge weakness of his.
Yeah, if this was a Joey Carbstrong video, it probably was. He probably was like very understanding to the person, and he's saying this is like a very well-known activist. I imagine Joey Carbstrong would be happy to talk to you, Allie. Did you think of that? Maybe that would have been good to do. Have a conversation with Joey instead of all these right-wingers that you keep having on your channel. Maybe you could have focused on animals. But as George has pointed out, it seems you've sort of lost focus on the animals a little bit, which fair enough. Like, you can focus on whatever the hell you want. But it's pretty telling, isn't it? Like, where your priorities are. Speciesist Tabrizispiracy.
This entire video and article here is it's just too much vague generalities. But I personally don't know any vegan activists, content creators who say that they live on rice and beans. Again, we're claiming that they could be a foundation of what we eat, but not saying that's all you are allowed to eat.
If you take all the vegans in the world, you're probably looking at 0.00001% of the vegans who are choosing to live this kind of whole foods, no oil kind of approach to like literally living off rice and beans, and who knows how good their health is long term.
All right, so finally it gives us an actual quantifiable percentage number here, and that's based on nothing. That's just pulled completely out of thin air or his ass. But I want to draw attention to that last little quip he said there about how the long-term health of a whole food plant-based diet is questionable. And I'm laughing because this is a classic anti-vegan talking point. One, he would have never been caught dead saying in the past, but now that he's turned against veganism, these non-evidence-based claims are coming out of his mouth. And it's not evidence-based because the evidence points to the contrary, that a well-planned, well-balanced vegan diet is nutritionally adequate in the long term for all people. I invite you, Ollie, to show me any health organization from anywhere in the world that says that the long-term health of a whole food plant-based diet is questionable. And furthermore, to weaken his claim that us vegan content creators are full of shit when we talk about how much beans and rice we actually eat in the real world.
Y'all, this is like gotta be the most marshmallows I've ever eaten. It's been a long stream. I've been munching on them the whole time. Oh, I'm not gonna feel great. Shout out to Dandy's though. They are delicious. Dandy's vegan marshmallows. I hope they get a little bump from all this. And more than a Jeremy bump. Hope they get a real bump. Dandy's vegan marshmallows.
World. Well, when Ali and his now wife came over in 2016, let me show you what Angie whipped up for him after we went to farmers market.
Don't mind me.
We got brown rice, we got potatoes, we got salsa.
There you go.
And there's also beans too. Yes, we really do eat beans and rice all the time. Not exclusively. In fact, let me just show you randomly the most recent YouTube short Angie made of her 7 vegan meals, which highlights the foods we eat day in and day out. Yeah, it's a lot of beans and rice, but not only beans and rice.
7 vegan meals I made at home, week 54. A quick and easy Instant Pot fried rice with mixed veggies and various flavorings. A big pot of the Southwest chowder from the Happy Healthy Vegan Cookbook for my brother who inspired the recipe. A fresh broccoli, mushroom, and high protein tofu stir fry from the Happy Healthy Vegan Cookbook. Sorry about the terrible lighting. The green bean and potato sabji from the Keep a Carb Baby Cookbook over some jasmine rye.
I want some. I want to stop eating marshmallows and give me some good healthy food.
A mango banana and ice cream with some added ice to make it nice and cold because it got hot this week. And one of my favorite hot day recipes is an avocado umeboshi onigiri. So good. And I also indulged in a couple of hard shell tacos made with spiced Gardein plantless crumbles and using some avocado oil.
Did you catch that, Ali? We put some oil on there too. We're not afraid of oil.
Man, it's really hard to be vegan. You know, it's tough.
Very hypocritical for those vegan activists to make such claims to a struggling mother, especially as most of these activists don't have kids themselves and view it as a sign of grave sin to have kids in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let Ryan handle it.
Some more straw manning portraying most vegans. That was his word, most there. Most vegans, over 50% of vegans are supposedly anti-natalist. Like, no, that's complete bullshit. Not sure what kind of vegan crowd you're hanging out with in the past, but please don't project your personal experience onto the rest of us. And when he used that emotionally charged language of struggling mothers, I immediately thought of other anti-vegans who have used this same emotionally charged tactic to portray veganism as some kind of elitist, privileged, bad way of living.
And for women in particular, who have dependents, whether it's 3 small kids or an elderly parent, they can't afford either the time or the...
Once again, I misplaced, once again, I'm sorry, guys. I keep doing it where I keep thinking that the victim of these choices are the animals, but it's not. It's the struggling mother with the kids. That's the real victim here. And Allie's the victim.
That's something bullshit. After that last time we covered Julie Bindel, I heard back from so many of you mothers out there, so many vegan mothers talking about how it was actually more affordable for you to plan and prepare the vegan diets for your families. I mean, there was so many great comments, and I really want to thank all of you for taking the time to debunk Julie Bindel here in our comments.
Contrary to people like Julie Bindel there and Ali Tabrizispiracy seems to be suggesting or implying now, there are empirical studies that show people do save money when feeding themselves and their families a vegan diet. For example, in this published study from the Oxford Martin School, they say vegan diets were the most affordable and reduced food costs by up to 1/3. And regarding food accessibility, here in the United States, people with SNAP benefits can choose to, if they want to, go to many farmers markets and buy fresh produce there.
I've actually found that vegans are the most reluctant to donate to animal charities a lot of the time because they believe that they're doing enough.
All right, I'd love to see your data point or argument for this one.
Yeah, there are just tons of non-vegans donating to PETA and DXE. Tons of them. Yeah, tons of non-vegans donating to animal sanctuaries. Yeah. Tons of them. Yeah, that sounds right. Who knew?
They believe that they're doing enough to save the animals by buying that, $20 Beyond Burger or Impossible Burger.
Again, straw man, expensive Beyond Impossible burgers aren't necessarily staples of most vegans' diets.
And so what I found is that there's this immense amount of pride that vegans have in themselves that I also had myself as a vegan for 13 years.
Yeah, you had it. Again, like you're the one that is looking down on everybody. Ali. Speciesist Ali. Looking down on non-vegans and animals. It's a theme. It's a theme of superiority, of some might say narcissism.
Really haven't donated very much money to animal charities at all.
Oh man, Ollie, you're just talking about yourself then. You're just projecting your personal experience onto all us vegans. Please stop it. As I talked about at the beginning of this video, now we're going to see some more ethical drift. It began with him trying to justify gelatin marshmallows. Now he's going to justify backyard egg eating.
Let's take a side-by-side look of tofu and a backyard egg. Now, tofu requires a field.
Which, by the way, saying that you're going to pick two products, right, that you have to do a side-by-side is already just a fallacy, because you don't have to buy either of them. Let's say you have a problem with tofu for whatever reason. You think that the tofu is causing a lot of harm. Don't buy the tofu. You're just making my point, Jeremy. You're making my point. No, Ali. If you think something is causing harm, then don't do it. It's really simple.
And a field requires for the trees to be destroyed or cut down on.
As I showed earlier how Ali had parroted an anti-vegan talking point from Julie Bindel, well, I'm going to show every time he does such a thing. Here he's repeating something that Paul Saladino says.
How do you grow plants? How is kale grown or spinach grown? It's grown in a field, probably in the Central Valley of California or somewhere, that was at one time trees.
Why?
And at one time there were voles and mice or rabbits living there with snakes and beetles and bugs and birds in those trees. And so in order to get to that land to be able to grow plants, you have to cut all that stuff down. Then you have to till the soil.
But as I showed before, Paul has no problem with cutting trees and plants down to make this happen in the Central Valley.
The largest cow raising operation on the west coast of the United States sits right next to Interstate 5. Thousands of people drive right by the facility every day. They smell.
I like how he's got the Central Valley here. And also, again, like, I think Ryan, I can't remember if Ryan makes the point, but all the soy, like 80% of it is grown to feed livestock. Alfalfa, corn, soy, wheat.
Smell the foul air long before they reach the 800-acre feedlot, where over 100,000 cows are confined at a time.
But yes, Paul and Ollie are right. You have to clear out a field to plant plants in order to grow them. But Ollie has even further problems with the production of soy and tofu.
You now need the equipment used to till the field. And yes, insects might get killed in the process, small mammals might get killed. Sure, that happens in a lot of different forms of agriculture. Once you harvest the beans, you need to take it to a factory for processing. That factory also needs to be built using a lot of resources, a lot of machinery. Workers need to work in that factory. Those workers are not vegan. The wages that a vegan is helping to pay for by the demand for the tofu is going to pay for a worker who's eventually going to buy animals to eat anyway.
So somehow it's a problem for veganism if non-vegans are working in the tofu factory. I mean, this is a complete textbook example of the nirvana fallacy. It's trying to undermine veganism by saying our solution to the problem of animal cruelty and exploitation isn't perfect because there's workers in the tofu factories that aren't vegan and they're going to buy meat. So because of that, we should abandon veganism.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's a bunch of vegans working in the slaughterhouse that produce the gelatin, probably a bunch of vegans working there, right? Yeah. All right. Yeah, there gets to a point where it's just like you can just write someone off that they're just kind of dumb, right? Because we don't have to go through. We'll finish this video. But
it's produced, needs to be packed in plastic, needs to be refrigerated in the place that's being produced, on the vehicle that's being transported on, in the shop that's holding it, and then at home. So you've got also refrigeration, you've got electricity, you've got transport, you've got land impact, and so on. The tofu isn't usually produced in your own country, or those beans at least, so they need to be shipped around the world.
Again, he's speaking in these broad generalities. Be specific. Talk about your own story, your own specific circumstances there, Ollie, because I did a quick search online and there's plenty of local Australian tofu and soy producers. And I just looked in my fridge for the hell of it to see where the tofu I bought at the market yesterday came from, and it came from the next state closest to mine.
Side by side with an egg from a chicken that was rescued in your garden, eating bugs on the ground, or eating scraps of food that you left behind, producing an egg. Which one's more ethical?
Once again, Ollie, how are you measuring or quantifying what is ethical? It doesn't seem to be in terms of animal cruelty and exploitation, because why did you go on that whole tirade about the environmental damage of growing tofu? So what Ollie is actually up to here is trying to downplay the known environmental benefits of vegan and plant-based diets by implying that sometimes some non-vegan foods might cause less harm. If we look at this Nature Food study published in 2023, it showed that vegan diets resulted in...
What is this obsession with people that they think they need to eat an egg too? Like, an egg is loaded with cholesterol. It's not a good thing to eat. So, I mean, why would you? It doesn't matter. It's going to be loaded with cholesterol, whether it came from your backyard hen that you say was rescued. I mean, it's just like so ridiculous right now. So, not a great long-term solution there, Allie. Whatever.
75% less climate heating emissions, water pollution, and land use than diets in which more than 100 grams of meat was eaten a day.
Running out of
Furthermore,
steam,
the
guys.
United Nations has ranked which diets are the most climate
I mean, I powered with marshmallows.
friendly. And take a wild guess as to what's number one. Yeah,
Not my usual edamame.
it's vegan diets. As far as I see it, Ollie's comparing backyard eggs to tofu. He's committed an equivalency fallacy, which is where someone incorrectly asserts that two things are equivalent or similar when they have significant differences. Saying that buying imported tofu from another country is worse than buying local animal-based backyard eggs, when he actually has absolutely zero data points to make this comparison. In contrast, I showed you several data points, including a study and a recommendation from the United Nations. So who are you going to believe? A hypothetical thought experiment or actual evidence-based information? Furthermore, even if we went with...
I believe Ali because he has shown himself to be quite the intellectual, and I mean, you can just tell, like, the way that he speaks, the level. Like, I don't think you could reach that level of self-importance. You couldn't make a 50-minute video or a long blog post without being just like an incredibly intelligent person. So I don't know, Ryan. I'll take Ali.
With his thought experiment of having a rescued backyard chicken laying eggs, I believe that's still exploitative to the chicken. If you look at what the definition of exploitation is, it's the use of something to get an advantage of it. And the fact of the matter is, selective breeding of chickens has produced chickens that are unhealthy. They've been bred to produce eggs at such a prolific rate. This selective breeding can lead to health issues like skeletal and metabolic disorders, heart problems, and even sudden death. So if you
But Ryan, I mean, but chickens are little vending machines, for us, the animal rescuers. We rescue them so that they can provide us with the eggs. Ryan, did you think of that? Did you think of that, Ryan? I don't think you did.
See anything exploitative about a chicken who's been selectively bred to have such health issues so that humans can take advantage of it, i.e. exploitation, I have nothing more to say to you about morality. I also want to add, it's not necessary for humans to consume eggs in order to get all their nutrients or anything like that. If so, I should be dead because I haven't had an egg in over like 15 years.
This concession, this example, debunks the entire moral framework of 100% absolute abolitionist veganism, because you therefore ought to be eating more eggs if you want to help protect animals elsewhere or have a lower impact elsewhere.
No,
Ali. Again, that's where your thinking has got you into trouble. It's usually a benefit to think thoughts. Thoughts are usually a good thing. But with you, they seem to take you down these weird, dark paths. Ali, How did this guy call himself vegan for 13 years and have like no clue about what veganism is? I don't even know how it's possible like to do it for a year. He did it for 13 years? 13 years, Ali. 13 years of I'm more vegan than you. Oh. With the t-shirts and everything.
Oh, sorry, your thought experiment / anecdotes pale in the comparison of actual real data. So let me present some actual data here to show that your harm reductionitarianist argument here doesn't hold.
Mary, I am already sorry. I'm already sorry that I ate that many marshmallows. I feel not great. I was like, Ali won. First, he fucked my throat up when I did that perfect rendition of his voice. And now he got me to eat half a bag of full-size marshmallows and half a bag of miniature marshmallows. I am I'm in pain. I mean, I feel fine, but y'all, like, I don't feel healthy.
Old true. If you really,
you should give Ryan a chance. I think, Jeremy. I think he makes great videos. Do it. Listen, like, do I agree with every vegan on every subject? Of course not. I don't. I have disagreements with some of the people that I revere the most, but I think overall, like, Ryan does a great job. I've disagreed with Ryan in the past. I've actually even called Ryan out while he was doing one of his lives, and we were having it, you know, and to his credit, you know, he was responding to me. I was trying to get him to like basically have a debate, you know, that he was like sort of refusing to have. And I just think, you know, Ryan's a good dude. He's a good guy. And he makes mostly great content. Better content than me. You know, he puts the work in.
want to harm or kill the fewest amount of animals, you would have.
That's my opinion. You can do what you want, Jeremy, obviously.
No choice other than to eat a vegan diet. Let's look at this mathematical model, which calculates or estimates how many animals are killed both during slaughter and harvest, you know, intentional and accidental kills of animals. And if you look at the bottom of the graph here, you'll see grains, fruits, vegetables, those involve the fewest numbers of animals being killed. I do realize that the eggs in this mathematical model were not backyard eggs, but Ollie's suggestion that we should eat backyard eggs, like, that's completely ridiculous. Like, how can you just sustain yourself on backyard eggs if you're trying to do the least amount of harm? That's totally not possible. It's unhealthy. I don't know any health organization.
Yeah, and none of the mature, you know, content creators will just say it. It's stupid. It's just stupid. It's just dumb, Ali.
That I recommend eat nothing but eggs. So, but back in the real world here, to get away from Ollie's crazy thought experiment of just consuming backyard eggs to cause the least amount of harm, again, just eat a vegan diet. It wins on the least amount of harm if you're measuring on that front. And as I showed earlier, it's the most climate friendly diet. But remember, I'm vegan because I'm against animal cruelty and exploitation. It's just a really nice side benefit that it also kicks butt in these other areas. I know this video is getting kind of long, but I just want to quickly take a look at some of the outrageous things he said about vegans on his Substack article. Several times he mentions how vegans think of themselves as being morally superior. And one of the examples, he's using himself as an example. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here that he's just telling about his own personal story, but please don't project your personal bit onto the rest of us vegans once again. This one, Ollie can't look.
Which, and by the way, now he feels more morally superior to vegans, right? And there's just like this common thread with Ali that he feels superior. Again, it must be the people who are surrounding him. Like, he's acting incredulous that people have made response videos about him for doing this. No shit. Like, what did you expect, Ali? He must be surrounded by people licking his boots and saying, wow, Ali, that was such an intelligent take you had. Like, sometimes, like, we have to be humbled in life, you know? like I had this thought about. I was like, I didn't want to really. I was just, I was just wondering, like, how many times has like Ali been humbled in his life? It doesn't seem like very much, because he sort of acts above. I don't. It's sort of immature. And I say that as someone who's doing the most immature reaction video. But I feel like, I can say it and it doesn't really matter that much, because fuck Ali. And like I said, I feel like most people have handled it very maturely. But almost like in so doing, almost give him more credit than he deserves, like as though he's making some kind of argument. It's a dumb, he's making dumbass arguments.
His way out. He's calling veganism as some kind of orthorexia, which is an eating disorder. Yeah. Veganism is not an eating disorder. We choose to not eat certain foods because they are not in alignment with our morals and ethics. Like, would you call a person orthorexic because they avoid, say, eggplant because they dislike the texture of eggplant? Hell no, that would be absurd. Same thing, just because vegans choose not to eat animal products.
I might have been there, Jeremy, what you're talking about, because that's what I was just talking about, actually. I was just talking about that very thing. And yeah, I thought that Ryan was being a little bit ridiculous in that moment. But that said, like, we're not perfect, like Ryan's not perfect, and I accept that. And like, it's okay. I mean, you have the right to watch whoever you want, but I feel like people can make mistakes, and Ali included. Like, Ali can redeem himself. I don't think he will. But if he was like a truly self-reflective person, he would see that people are making sense about what he's talking about. I would really hope to be able to apologize to Ali and say, thank you for coming around and making the right decision. I just don't see it happening. Now, I hope to be wrong. I hope to be wrong about that. There are certain lines to me that's like you don't cross. But when it comes to Ryan, in my opinion, not necessarily handling a situation perfectly or getting a little defensive or whatever, I don't see that as a big deal. I think it's okay. And he's always been really nice when I've like messaged in his streams and all that. Yeah. So I don't know. But that said, again, I'll just reiterate, that's my opinion. I don't blame you for, writing some people off if they act inappropriately or whatever, in your opinion.
For ethical reasons does not make us orthorexic.
Because, like, let's face it, sorry, Dan, you can watch anything you want. And that's why I'm really grateful you're watching my streams. I saw someone do this video the other day, and I really liked how he ended the video. He said, thank you for watching my video. You can literally watch any video on YouTube, and you chose this one. For that, I thank you. That's a really nice sentiment. I really like he said that. Because, yeah, right now, I'm sure there are people streaming right now. Like, there's other vegans streaming. You could be watching other videos and stuff. Probably better content even. But you found, like, this channel, and I appreciate that. So yeah, you can choose who you want to watch. It's okay. But I like Ryan. I'll just say that for the record. I'm team Ryan and team Jeremy. I'm not picking a side, but I love Ryan. Ryan, I love you. Ryan. No, I like you a lot, Ryan. You're a good dude.
And I'm not sure if he's calling all vegans or some vegans as being cultish. And who am I to disagree with that, right?
Right.
And Ollie, if you're watching this video, best wishes.
And I'm not just kneeling down to the cult leader and licking his boots, okay? I might be a little like he intimidates. He's the leader, okay? It's hard to call out the leader. And all right.
To you and Lucy, I still think you guys are good people, despite my complaints about what you said.
Ryan can think that. I would like to see more evidence that Ali's a good person.
I have nothing against the person you are. I have problems and issues with the many things I brought up here about what you said about veganism, the misinformation, the logical fallacies, and so on. Like I said, if you just made a video saying, I'm older now, I have kids, and it's just kind of inconvenient to make sure I always have vegan stuff for the kids, I get it. Not to say I'd be totally stoked about it, but I would understand, and I would have made a response video here. It's just throwing veganism under the bus as you and like say others have done. That's why I make a response video. So it's nothing personal. It's strictly about the information that you said in your video and Substack article. So anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about all this. Did you see this coming? What you think about the examples it gave? Why he needed to not be vegan anymore? I still didn't see any compelling reason other than he just wanted to make it easier to hang out with his kids and stuff, and maybe start a whole new career now as a political podcaster. I'm doing less vegan YouTube than I was in 2016. I'm doing more music production. I'm still vegan. There's nothing incompatible about the two at the same time. So you guys, comment down below, hit like, share this video, and if Ali or anyone else watching thinks I've totally screwed up here, I've misunderstood, I've misrepresented somehow, come to my Friday live stream and be very specific and tell me what your accusations are, because I'm going.
And there it is again, a reach out. Just because he didn't send it direct to Ali, he said, hey, Ali, I've made this video. If you want to come on my live stream, come in, let's hash it out.
Off the exact words that Ali.
So Ali, don't say that vegans didn't reach out to you. We have seen ample proof that vegans have in fact reached out to you to question this stuff. And as I think it was Jeremy pointed out, it may be that people haven't come to you with the proper deference that you're looking for, exulting in your, intellectualism, your superior intellect. That could be the problem. Is that it? Is that it? Should I hail the intellectualism? It may be pseudo, sure, maybe pseudo-intellectual, but it's impressively pseudo-intellectual. Will you take that from me, Ali? Will you take that? It's impressively pseudo-intellectual. There's a starting point for us right there, if we can do that. But yeah, again, Ryan said it. He said, you can come on my stream. So anyway, I linked to that. Yes. Guys, make sure you go, if you want. I know some people have some issue. Go send Ryan some love. That was a good video. I appreciate it. As I appreciate all people that don't sell the animals out for a fucking marshmallow. I love people who don't fucking murder animals over a marshmallow when you could just get a vegan one or not eat a goddamn fucking marshmallow. All right. Thank you for the memes, though, Ali. You have created. We had fun. We had fun, Ali, at your expense. I just regret that you're doing this to animals now and spreading that around to your viewers, whoever they are. Okay. All right. Maybe that's the end of the Ali saga and we'll move on. Unless Ali would like to respond and come on my channel. Or go on someone else's channel. Like I said, go on Ryan's channel. Go on George's channel. Go on Natalie's channel. I'm sure any of these people will talk to you. Ali, I will talk to you. Anybody will talk to you. Talk to Joey. If that's a video that you watched and you thought Joey was being like condescending to the woman pushing the pram, as you call it, then talk to Joey. I'm sure that Joey Carbstrong will have it out with you in a respectful way. I am sure he would do that. And, maybe you haven't asked, maybe Joey's busy, whatever, but it could be, Ali, maybe you're intimidated. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe you don't want to talk to any of these people because you realize that they have a better position than you do. Could that be it? I think that's it. Prove me wrong, Ali. Prove me wrong. Guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. Make sure you smash and do terrible things, terrible, dirty things to that like button. Do it also to the subscribe button. Don't leave that button out either. That button, honestly, you can get a lot of pleasure from the subscribe button. That's really the sweet spot. Yeah, the like button. Yeah, yeah, that's fun. It's fun. The like button is fun. I'm not saying it's not fun. The bell, also fun to do whatever you do. Fondle the bell button. Fondle them bells is what I'm saying. But the real sweet one is the subscribe button. That's the sweet one. Smash it. Thank you, Mobius. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, J Ash. By the way, I don't think I've seen your name in here before, so nice to see you, J Ash. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Alicia, always good to see you. Mobius, always good to see you. Mary, of course. Mary's my homie. You know, Mary's it. You know, Felix, my homie, like my OGs. Felix, Steven, Mary, fondle them bells, right? Fondle them bells. All right. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and make sure you give some love to all the people I've reacted to, other than Allie. Don't worry about that channel. But Mel and Steve, Ryan, Vegan Gays, all those people, make sure you send them some love. Good night, everybody. And I always do this, but there's the glitch, so we'll see if this ends on time. Awkwardly. I'm just gonna sadly eat marshmallows now. Just contemplate how the world is going to shit. Thanks to Allie fucking Tabrizi. This is me angrily eating a mushroom. Not a mushroom, a marshmallow. Good night, everyone. Okay, I'm done. I gotta get out of here.